Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by Logic Dolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. You can follow us at Handelabra Games on Twitch or Handelabra on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can follow me personally at Logic Dolphin on Twitch, Discord, YouTube, or pretty much any avenue. Sentinels of the Multiverse, Sentinels of Earth Prime, Bottom of the Ninth, One Deck Dungeon, One Deck Galaxy, Alien's End, and Spirit Island, lost track of where I was, are all available on Steam, iOS, and Android devices. One Deck Dungeon is also available on Switch. One Deck Galaxy is actually out now, so it is available on all devices as well, which is cool. You can find more information on those games at handelabra.com. But hello, guys. It's been a couple weeks, few weeks. Not sure when my last stream was. I'll be entirely honest with you. Kind of been busy with work. Because there was like 1 week where I was overworked, and then the week after that, there just wasn't a convenient day for me to stream. And then I think there was another week. I don't know. 2 or 3 weeks I was off. But I am back. As usual, I have to stream on a day that I'm not working and all that jazz. But I'm off today. I'm off tomorrow. We can do a late night stream for once. It's great. And looking forward to next week. It looks like Thursday or Friday is fine for me that week as well. So we'll be able to we'll just stick to Thursday at 7 p.m. Why not? I actually have my schedule for the next 6 weeks. So I could even look forward and be like, hey, what's the agenda for streams moving forward? But I think week by week still makes sense. But I am curious, since I just said that myself. But I'm off this Thursday. I'm off. Well, actually, I guess I said Thursday, but yeah, I'm streaming Wednesday this week. But Thursday next week, I guess. Thursday. Yeah, I'm off on a lot of Thursdays. That's cool. All right, maybe we'll stick to Thursdays. In any case, I am here and we'll be back and continuing our weekly streams moving forward. Yeah, in my absence, the 2 or 3 week absence, however long it was, One Deck Galaxy, got released. So that is now out there. Also has achievements, which I actually helped with a little bit. So that's something to look forward to, already something you have looked for and seen. We're not streaming that today, though, because Jagged Earth has had some updates, or at least some beta updates. Not public yet, but still in active development. John demoed some aspects yesterday, and I kind of want to follow in his stead. So we're going to play today. Last time I streamed was when I did Fractured Days Split the Sky or whoever. So let's see. So I'm going to hit new game. I'm not going to hit quick play because I do want to change the spirits if they're not correct. Three spirits, any complexity, random adversary. So we have Sunbright Whirlwind, we have Stones Unyielding Defiance, and we have Thunder Speaker, none of whom have aspects. And we were given England, who is old. So yeah, this is where we'll have to switch things up. So let's give Fractured Days another spin. Just because. And let's play with 2 spirits that have aspects, which I believe are River, Shadows, Vital Strength, and Lightning. So 2 of those 4. Well, I don't know how to do it other than to pick random numbers, because I'm not very good at making decisions. So I'm going to go to random.org and first give me a number between 1 and 4, and I got 4. So we're going to do Vital Strength, but the aspect for it. There's only 1 right now, so we'll talk about that in a second. And then of the other 3, we want number 1, which is Lightning. I think also only has 1 right now. No, we have 2. Ooh, we have 2. All right, so which of these 2 aspects are we going to do? We're going to do 1. So Pandemonium. And Adversary, should we do one of the newer ones? Or is there only the one? Habsburg? Oh no, Habsburg and Russia, that's right. Let's do it just because it's been a while since I played them. We'll do Russia. And I really don't know where I am on this, and I'm kind of rusty, I feel like, since I've not played in several weeks. So honestly, I'm just gonna play Russia 1. Whatever. Like, easy game, easy life, but it's fine. I'm not upset. So I just want to have some fun. I don't care how easy the game is. I find easy games fun. Difficult games are sometimes struggle, and victory is satisfying. But if I just want to have fun, I want to have an easy game. That's just how I prefer it, though. Sometimes I play Slay the Spire in Ascension 1, even though I can beat it at Ascension 20, but sometimes I just want to have some fun and relax, and I find that more with easy games. And so that's what I'll do. All right, so let's just go over these spirits, because partly for me, but also for your sake, but for me to remind myself how these work. So Fractured Days Split the Sky is, of course, the new spirit in this, well, it's in Jagged Earth, but also in this iteration of the Jagged Earth release, it's next up. Very high complexity. Setup: put 3 presents on your starting board, 1 in the lowest numbered land with 1 Dahan, and 2 in the highest numbered land without Dahan. Deal 4 minor and major powers face up as your initial Days That Never Were. And we're playing 3 players, so the rest of that doesn't apply. Playstyle: excellent as support and sweeping indirect effects, but starts off very limited otherwise. Several of its unique powers need setup to use well. It's entirely possible 1 or 2 of them may see no play in a given game. Has a hard time getting lots of presents onto the board. This can make targeting tricky and may be quite dangerous if a Blighted Island effect destroys presents. So, what is this Days That Never Were thing? Days That Never Were. Your third growth option lets you gain any 1 power card from a special set you create during setup. When you gain a power card any other way, you may add 1 unchosen card to this set. So growth option number 3 on the scroll wheel over here says that you can gain a power card from Days That Never Were. It's kind of really small, but that's what it says. So it's a collection of cards that you see in advance, unlike standard power gains where you're drawing 4 cards having to make a decision. These are cards you see the entire game and can make decisions as to when you want to gain them. And you can add to them whenever you gain cards any other way, such as growth option number 3, where you gain a power card as normal. And the standard rules for power card gains apply. If you gain a major power, you have to forget a power to make space for it. If you gain a minor power, you don't have to do that. So, yep. We also have Fragments of Shattered Time. Each presence on this ability represents 1 time. Many of your powers require time as an additional cost. Spend it when you resolve the power, not when you play it. When you gain 1 time, put 1 of your presents here from your presents track or optionally the island. When you spend 1 time, return it to a presents track, or if you have no free spaces, destroy it. So, because gaining time takes from the presents track, and you actually gain time in 2 different ways, growth option 2 or growth option 3, you actually get presents off the presents tracks rather easily, but as the result, the presents tracks are a bit lackluster. There's no elements on here, no reclaim 1s, and you also only get up to 3 energy per turn or 3 card plays per turn at most. So you're kind of not really playing off of your presence track with the spirit per se. However, growth options provide extra card plays or extra energy. Actually, you gain time on all 3 of these. I lied. You can gain up to 2 time with growth option 1. But growth option 2 is the only way to gain extra card plays. Growth option 3 is the only way to gain extra energy. So the way you can kind of consider this, I guess, is that you take growth option 3 to build up a stack of energy, take growth option 2 to play as many powers as possible, trying to make as much change and effect as possible, and then ebb and flow as needed. Yeah, so the growth options themselves, growth option 1, gain air, reclaim cards, gain up to 2 time. Growth option 2, gain moon, gain a power card, add a presence at range 2, and twice you can gain 1 time or gain 2 card plays this turn. So, up to you how you want to do that. Of course, removing presence from here gives you more things here as well, but card plays are more potent on here. And growth option 3, gain sun, move a presence range up to 4, gain a power card from Days That Never Were, and 3 times, gain 1 time or gain 2 energy. So the only way that you actually put presence on the board is growth option 2. Growth option 2, add a presence. Growth option 3 moves a presence, but the growth option 2 is the only way to put presence on the board. And that's why it said on the other side that he has a hard time adding presence to the board. Because he can only do it once with this option. The innate powers, slip the flow of time, fast power targeting any spirit, cost to use is 1 time per previous use this turn. You may use this power any number of times. With 3 moon and 1 air, target spirit may resolve 1 slow power now. 2 sun and 2 moon, target spirit may reclaim 1 power card from their discarded or played cards, but if they reclaim a card from play, they lose its elements, of course. And at 3 sun, 2 air, target spirit may play a power card by paying its cost. And what I've learned from my previous time playing him is that if you reclaim a card from your played cards, you can then play it immediately, which in effect allows you to repeat a power. And you can repeat it any number of times as long as you pay time for it, which is rather interesting. You do have to have the elements for this, of course, and since you only have up to 3 card plays, it can be tough to have these elements, but do bear in mind you get elements on all these growth options as well, and card plays over here, etc., etc., etc. Visions of a shifting future. Slow power, target yourself. 1 sun, 2 moon, 2 air. Look at the top card of either the invader deck or the event deck. Return it, then shuffle that deck's top 2 cards. For the invader deck, the differing invader stages may give away which card is next, so that's kind of a way to cheat the system. And at 2 sun, 3 moon, 2 air, instead of returning and shuffling, you may put the card you looked at on the bottom of its deck, but do not do this for cards specially placed during setup. So for instance, you can't put Slave Rebellion on the bottom of the event deck. And if you're playing Brandenburg Prussia, you can't move the early stage 3 card to the side or to the bottom of the deck, etc. So that is a thing. So you do get a glimpse into the future, which is rare in this game. But of course it goes shuffled in the top 2 cards. So you don't know if it's going to come up right away unless you're so special that the different invader stages actually give it away. You can also look at the event deck to kind of have an insight as to what an upcoming event is, which is also good to know because, you know, events do powerful things if you can control them, or they do terrible things and it's good to know they're coming so you can prevent them, sort of thing. All right, so now the cards. Absolute Stasis. Fast, range 2 Sacred Site, any land. Cost to use 1 time. Until the end of the slow phase, target land and everything in it cease to exist for all purposes except checking victory or defeat. This cannot target an ocean even if oceans are in play. So that would I'm pretty sure this is probably added in playtesting, where someone just used it to prevent the ocean from adding explorers, and Eric was like, yeah, that's broken, we're not going to do that. But in any case, target land ceases to exist, which means they can't ravage, they can't build, they can't be a source of explorers, and they can't be explored into as well, which is a very strong version of Isolate. So that's good to use. Blur the Arc of Years. Fast, range 1, any land. If no Dahan or invaders are present, remove a blight. If invaders are present, they build, then ravage. If Dahan are present, add a Dahan, push up to 2 Dahan. You may repeat this power once on the same land by spending 1 time. So, a versatile card in a sense. You can remove Blight, you can add Dahan, but invaders will build and ravage, which can be helpful if, like, for instance, you have Defend in that land, and you have Dahan in there so they can actually kill the invaders. Which is rather interesting, but also situational. Pour Time Sideways. Fast power targets yourself. Costs to use 3 time. Move 1 of your presence to a different land with your presence. On the board moved from. During the invader phase, resolve invader and each board, each land actions 1 fewer time. On the board moved to. During the invader phase, resolve invader and each board, each land actions 1 more time. And so as I've learned, I thought this meant like 1 fewer time, meaning when they build in 2 lands. So instead they'll build in 1 land, and on the second board they'll build in 3 lands. But actually what that means is if they build, they don't actually build in this land. But if they build, they'll build twice in the second land, or in the second board. So, and you can, I guess you can spend 3 time to move a presence onto the same board, but it's kind of useless, I guess, because it moves to a land with your presence, so you're not really getting to a different land, and you'll resolve actions exactly the same number of times. So you're spending 3 time just to spend time, I guess. But with 3 spirits, obviously it's different. The past returns again. Fast power. Cost to use, end time, and spirits jointly pay N energy, where N equals the number of players. Swap the top card of the invader deck with a card in the invader discard that is within 1 invader stage of it. The discarded card stays face down. The card going onto the deck turns face down. You can't swap cards that don't exist. So with 3 spirits, we have to spend 3 time, and spirits have to pay 3 energy. Because obviously it's a powerful effect, but with a big board, obviously it has more significant consequences in it. Top card of the invader deck with a card in the invader discard essentially says, all right, well, I know exactly where they're going to explore, so I can plan for that. Which is powerful. However, be careful that you're not forgetting this, because basically within 1 invader stage means you can't swap a stage 3 card with a stage 1 card. Stage 3 card has to be swapped with a stage 3 or stage 2 card, which means either it's a double explore or it's an escalation or coastal. So that's the watch out thing. With great power comes great responsibility, indeed. All right, so we spent a million years going over that spirit, but that's kind of to remind myself and also show this off to people I've never seen it before, in case you don't play Jagged Earth or you only play digital. We also have these 2 aspects. This will be a lot faster, I promise, as the aspects just basically do 1 small change. And for vital strength of the earth, the resilience aspect, and that's the only aspect, changes the special rule. So ordinarily, we have Earth's vitality, defend 3 in every land where you have sacred sites. However, with resilience, we have anchor the land's resilience. And lands with your sacred site, it takes 8 additional damage to add blight to the land. So usually 10 damage adds blight. This does not protect the Han at all. Damage to them is unaffected. So, yeah, sacred sites now 10 damage adds blight, but you no longer have defend for the Dahan other than, you know, defend cards. So, it means that blight is harder to add to the island, but also invaders build up and you can't really defend them as easily as you normally would. So whereas defend 3 would mean that it takes 6 damage to add blight, this is a higher threshold for damage for blight purposes. And bear in mind that the presence is destroyed when blight is added, so if a ravage deals 9 damage, Dahan die, but your presence is unaffected because you didn't add blight. Pandemonium Lightning, one of the 2 aspects that we have here, replaces the special, or sorry, it doesn't replace the special rule, it replaces the innate power. So Thundering Destruction, which is the standard way of destroying buildings with lightning other than with Shatter Homesteads, which is very potent if you're set up and can destroy many buildings. But with Pandemonium Lightning, we have Lightning Torn Skies, Incite Pandemonium. Slow power, range 1 sacred site, targeting invaders. I think that's the same. Nope. Targeting invaders is the only difference there. With 3 fire, 2 air, generate 2 fear, add a strife. At 4 fire, 3 air, generate 2 fear, add a strife. With 1 moon, 1 moon, 5 fire, 4 air, generate 3 fear, add 1 strife. And at 2 moon, 5 fire, 5 air, generate 4 fear, add 1 strife. So you don't destroy buildings. However, you prevent buildings from dealing damage. So if you have Dahan in the land, which lightning does have the ability of putting Dahan in lands, then the Dahan can take care of the ravages for you. However, this generates more fear than the standard power, which only destroys things and generates the fear that way. This generates 2 fear and adds a strife. Say it adds it to a town. Once that town is destroyed, it's an extra fear. So you're getting 3 fear for that 1 town. Add it to a city, well, you get 4 fear for that 1 city, etc. And bear in mind that all of these effects are cumulative. So if you're at max threshold, you're generating 11 fear with 1 power, also adding 4 strife, which essentially can solve a ravage, probably, maybe, depending on how built up things are, which, I mean, we have 2 spirits that are probably going to have things built up now. Sorry, there we go. But you can generate 11 fear in any case. This is a 3 spirit game, which means 12 fear generates 1 fear card. So it's still like, it's most of a fear card. But imagine this in single player, where you're getting 11 fear with 1 power. You just generated 2 3/4 of a fear card. So very potent. Can escalate the game very quickly. So this is a fear lightning, who is already fear, but you know. All right, so last but not least, Russia. Only on difficulty 1, as I said. Additional loss condition, hunters swarm the island. Put beasts destroyed by adversary rules on this panel. If there are ever more beasts on this panel than on the island, the invaders win. Stage 2 escalation is to stalk the predators. On each board, add 2 explorers total among lands with beasts. If you can't, instead, add 2 explorers among lands with beasts on a different board. So, get rid of all the beasts is what that means, right? And then hunters seek, shell, and hide. During setup on each board, add beasts and explorer to the highest number land without buildings. During play, explorers do +1 damage. When Ravage adds blight to a land, including cascades, destroy a beasts in that land. And that's really the only way that beasts get destroyed for this loss condition. Which is why if you play Russia 0, you're not really doing anything. I guess you're escalating, which is what most things do anyway, which is just add extra explorers. So yeah, so 3 fear cards at Terra level 1, 3 fear cards at Terra level 2, 4 fear cards at Terra level 3, and explorers do additional damage, and blights destroy. Well, ravage blights destroy beasts, but bear in mind that we do have vital strength with resilience, so. All right, let's play. 26 minutes into the stream. Let's play. Gifts that never were being set up. Presence on the board. Exploring sands. And I feel like I should start doing a thing where I change the background every stream, just to diversify it up. Maybe I should have done this in advance. Let's see, what do I want to go with today? Let's go with Deluxe Edition backer, because I feel like playing on a picnic table. That's what I feel. All right. So let's take a look at the days never were. So these are 4 minor powers and 4 major powers, and I was gonna say they're not organized by the type, but actually it just so happened that the first 4 alphabetically are minor and the second 4 alphabetically are major, so that's interesting. So Call to Ferocity, gather up to 3 Dahan, or if target land is Dahan, a fear and push 1 explorer in 1 town. Carapace Land, if targeting a land with beasts, this power has +1 range, defend 3, with 2 moon, defend +3. Confounding Mists, defend 4, or each invader added to target land is maybe immediately pushed to any adjacent land. Gift of Power, target spirit gains a minor power card. Settle into hunting grounds. Your presence may count as badlands and beasts. Decide per presence per action. Your presence cannot move. If you have 2 plant, 3 animal, 2 fear, and 2 damage in one of your lands. Interesting. Thickets erupt with every touch of breeze. 2 damage, then either add 3 wilds or remove 1 blight. If you have 3 plant, 1 fear plus 2 damage. That's a lot of wilds. Volcanic eruption, 6 fear, 20 damage, destroy all beasts and Dahan, add a blight. If you have 4 fire, 3 earth, destroy all invaders, add a wilds. In each adjacent land, 10 damage, destroy all Dahan and beasts. If there are no blight, add 1 blight. That's a lot of damage. Also blight, but I mean, a lot of damage. Walls of Rock and Thorn. 2 damage, defend 8, add a wilds, isolate target land. If you have 2 earth, 2 plant, plus 2 damage, plus 2 defend, add a Badlands. Interesting. So what we're interested in for elements are moon, sun, air. So are there any that are immediately really great for that? We have sun. We have air. We have moon. We have moon. We have air. We have sun. So no. We don't have any single card that's like, oh, this adds to all of them. So we have to make decisions here. But the big advantage is that these powers are always here. So we can take them at any point as needed. But just like last time, I'm now in analysis paralysis. Like, which power is the best one? Should I take this power instead? I think last time I went with this option to get a power card because I've looked at these powers and said I don't like them. But I think I want to go with a slightly different approach where I gain a bunch of energy this turn and play a bunch of cards next turn. So if I'm gaining a power card from Days That Never Were, it doesn't necessarily need to be a power that I'm using this turn. Although that said, Gift of Power is pretty good to gain a power that I might want for next turn. Plus, if I gain a minor power, I also add... When I gain a power card any other way, I may add 1 unchosen card to this set. And also, look at this display. Look at this. You can look at these cards over here as well. That's cool. This also shows the time, right? The 0 here is saying we have 0 time. It also pops up the Days That Never Were. Okay. Anyway, let's think about the actual game for the second. Instead of... I guess it is still the game, but... The Explored Sands. Now, Earth is not in Sands right now. And Earth usually has this issue where gaining powers are really difficult. Because if I do want to gain a power card, say I decide I want to deal with the Sands pretty well, I would have to add a presence in the land I'm currently in. I have a Sacred Site in F6. I have a regular presence in F5, so I'd have to Sacred Site in F5, which is not immediately helpful. And since this is Resilience, I don't have Defend with my Sacred Sites. So ordinarily, I'd put a double presence in F1 by next turn so I could defend this land innately. But now, I can't. I mean, I can, but the Dahan die. Or rather, one Dahan dies, the other survives and kills something. But this, however, could be defended with Guard the Healing Land, which is a power I'd normally, like, not really consider for that purpose, but since I can't defend it myself as easily, I might want to consider instead to grow into F8, as this is, well, it's 4 damage, because actually this is 2 damage. Yeah, so both Dahan actually die, as it were. I forgot Explorers deal extra damage, but anyway, there is 4 damage in here. They build a city, so it's 7 damage, but my Sacred Site, 10 damage adds Blight. So this would be defended, sort of. We also have Pandemonium Lightning that can't destroy buildings itself. Interesting, you don't need water if you're highest innate, unlike standard lightning. So ordinarily the approach would be to... Or at least I say ordinarily, but the way that I tend to play Lightning is I play 1 power card on turn 1, so I can play 3 power cards on turn 2 and hit the first level innate on the second turn. Because if I try to do that on turn 1, which you can very easily do, you'll still only have 1 power play on turn 2, and also you don't have the energy to do that, most likely. Unless you take this growth. But it's nice to have a Sacred Site, and I tend to like to get to +2 energy this turn, so you have some energy sustained before you enter your reclaim loop. But is this power still worth pushing for? Especially considering Explorers deal plus damage, so strafing a town doesn't actually stop the Ravage. It is a thought. It is not a thought. It is a thing to consider. Are any of these lands with beasts, by the way? This land is. So if they blight this land, this beast dies. There are 6 beasts on the board to start with. If they delete this beast, there'll be 1 on this card and 5 on the island. We won't lose immediately, but it is a beast that will be on the card for the rest of the game. Okay, so that's where we're at. That's the state of the game. Yep. How do I want to solve these problems? We do have a defend here in Days That Never Were. Defend 4. Also defend 3. And it can target land with beasts a little more easily. This is range 1. They are building a town, but there is currently 4 damage in there. So defend 3 is not enough. Defend 4 is not enough. So I'd have to also move an explorer out or do something else in there. We could blur the arc with years, blur the arc of years just so they immediately build and ravage and the Dahan die. That's probably a really bad idea. We could make them cease to exist, but that costs, well, no, that's not the expensive one. It's just 1 time. 4 times sideways and past returns each cost 3 time, which if I am taking growth option 3 here, I only have, I will have 3 time. Okay. So we could do that. Probably not a good idea to do past returns when there's nothing in the discard. 4 times sideways. I'm not at, oh, I am moving our presence though. So we can't move to a different board and then resolve build actions less on my board, but twice on a different board, which is also probably not good. They'll build twice in here, for instance, and defend 4 won't be enough. They build twice in here. 3, 5, 7, 9. That would still be protected, but that would be a double build for no real good reason. And if we double build here, that's a town and city here. Disease is used up and they put a town there. So I don't think that's particularly helpful. It might be helpful if, say, if I knew that a build on a target land wouldn't happen because both lands are empty, or like if board F there's nothing on the sands, so they build twice but there's nothing in the sands, so that build is skipped. So in which case this would be pretty helpful. Basically stops all builds on board H or something, but we don't have that capability, at least not yet. I mean, we could perfect stillness actually, and that would stop a double build if so desired. Raging Storm here to kill that explorer. The perfect stillness C2. Well, is this sacred site? No, it's regular presence. But if I'm doing growth option 3, I don't have range there. It is an interesting thought though. If I could do the slow power fast, which is an option if I have 3 moon, but I'm not gonna have 3 moon. I'm gaining a sun and I'm not getting enough card plays, so even if I gain 3 time off of the card plays track, I'm only gonna be at 2 card plays, so that's not an option. Plus I probably just want to gain a bunch of energy. I might not even want time per se. Like, what if I decide time is useless? I never gain time. In which case, all 3 of these are terrible powers. Okay. But it's a thought. Maybe I decide I only ever want to gain millions of energy. I mean, there could be a reason to say I want to gain millions of energy and I use a major power next turn. In which case, that would be pretty cool. Like say volcanic eruption to clear an island. Range 1 from a mountain. I'm not hitting that threshold, am I? 4 fire, 3 moon. I need to have a lot of card plays in addition to lots of energy. And also a lot of fire that I don't have. Okay. If I do volcanic eruption, it does cost 1,000,000 energy, but it deals 20 damage, generates 6 fear, and it adds a blight. And that is from a sacred site? Sacred site from mountain? No, it's just mountain presence. Okay. Which you don't currently have, we can move pretty much anywhere. Probably not super helpful even to do it next turn, unless we do the double build and board F for whatever reason. Like, let them double build board F, land F8 and also F1, but ignore that for a sec. Volcanic eruption F8 clears F8. And it puts a blight down, but getting rid of that town stops visibility of the neighboring lands. So this being blighted is okay if these lands can't even be built in anyway. So that's a very interesting thought. The downside to that, though, is that this town still exists, and they are going to explore either mountains or jungles or wetlands, which are all neighbors. So I'd have to not just clear this land, but also prevent the subsequent build. But we do have Draw of the Fruitful Earth that gathers 2 explorers. And you don't place additional explorers, right? I mean, I guess if we had Russia 2, then one of the explorers that we try to kill gets pushed instead, but we're not doing Russia 2. I guess Russia 2 is where Russia starts getting a little tricky, because explorers are now persistent. But I decided against that because this is my difficulty right now anyway. Like, we're playing against Fractured Days in a sense, trying to understand him a bit better. So that's why this game is a little easier. Anyway, I kind of like that plan. If they explore wetlands, it's only 1 explorer, but there's still 2 explorers. If they explore jungles, that's 2 explorers. If they explore mountains, that's one's a little more tricky because there's 3 mountains. We could potentially perfect stillness one of them so that we don't worry about that build. F1 we would defend with guard the healing land, right? Let's deal with that ravage and save the Dahan. We're gonna not gather Dahan into F8 if that's our plan, by the way, because this kills all the Dahan. So the follow-up question is then, if I'm going to do volcanic... Oh, but this is slow, actually. Shit, that is a problem. That's the downside to the plan. This is slow. So for that to work, I'd have to do it this turn. But having 6 energy... Well, having 8 energy this turn is very tricky. I can gain 6 energy off this. But that puts me at 7. The alternative is that I get 3 moon and 1 air next turn. So I could do the slow power fast. Which I can have a lot of card plays, so I could play more of these cards, but they do cost energy. And I need to be able to have 8 energy still. I mean, like, I have to gain 6 energy here, right? Which means I'm not gaining any time, which means I'm sitting on 1 energy, 1 card play. In the next turn, I mean, I would want to hit this threshold, but it might require +4 card plays, though. Oh, man, that's tricky. I really like this plan, but I don't think it's that viable as it turns out. Wait a minute, we have Lightning's Boon. So I don't actually need this. Okay, that makes it easier. Okay. So I have Lightning's Boon. 6 energy here, 1 this turn, 1 next turn is 8. And I can get a little more by gaining time, getting to 2 energy per turn that way. Add a presence and gain 1 time will do that. Okay. Okay, so we're Lightning Spooning next turn onto Fractured Days so that we can do Volcanic Eruption. The other downside of that plan, in a sense, is that... I mean, I don't have to do this option this turn, I guess. If I do it this turn and I do this next turn, I have to gain Volcanic Eruption this turn, which means I'm forgetting one of these. I think there is an event that says like spirits with 2 Dahan or whatever in their lands can reclaim a forgotten power, unique power card or something like that. So we can get these cards back. I think so. Once this land is a non-issue and we clear out everything in this land, it actually becomes easier to use Pour Time Sideways onto board F, I think. So we don't want to forget that. Three time and 3 energy is a big cost. I feel like this is a pretty good one, especially because it doesn't actually cost time for the first use. Ceasing to exist, really powerful. Knowing exactly what the next invader card is also really powerful. But maybe we can get lucky and not need it this game. I mean, it's only Russia 1. It's easy. What am I talking about? Okay. So I need to end up in a mountain next to F8, which can be done in 3 different ways. If I'm taking this growth option, it has to be into F4, but if I'm doing this growth option, I can just move my presence pretty much anywhere. Okay. If I'm forgetting past returns again, am I using any of these other ones? I might just not play a power card this turn. Elements don't do anything. I won't have time. The only thing I could do is blur the arc of years. I could just use it for blight removal. I could use it to add extra Dahan. Using it to build and ravage is not correct. Unless they build and ravage. Well, actually no, that still won't be correct. I can't add strife after they build. Okay. So I think it's still, we're gonna do this. Get up to 2 card plays as usual. This is range 1 presence. So we're not going to F8 because we're gonna lose our presence there. F1 is gonna be defended. And all these neighboring lands should theoretically not have anything happen in them. So maybe I grow into F2 preemptively so that when they do explore there, it's not that big of a deal. And then we play Draw the Fruitful Earth to stop the explorer that comes out of the sands. I guess hypothetically, if we wanted, we could absolute stasis F8, but we want them to build because there'll be more things in there to kill. Okay, so that's fine. So lightning, we do this growth to get to 2 energy, and we play 1 card. I kind of like the idea of taking out Interland visibility. Because if I take out C7, they don't see H4 anymore. The build in C6 will still enable visibility to C8. C4 is already visible by C2. C5 is visible by C2. If I take this town out, the neighbors... Well, I mean, it's just H4, but that does have a beast in there, so it makes it easier. Like, generally, the easiest way to play Spirit Island is just to make sure the invader is not in the middle of the board. Because not only do they not build... Not only can they not explore there, but they also won't build there, and then... It's a lot easier to manage the explorers, and you can just idly generate fear until you win the game. So I kind of like that thought. I guess what's my plan for C2? It could just ravage. Presumably, I'm going to be using the blight onto, or sorry, the strife onto C6 because there is a Dahan there. Although actually, that explorer still sucks. I guess we can raging storm next turn, just to kill the explorer, which seems rather lackluster. We don't have any explorer moving here, which is a little tragic. I guess C4 is a little safer than C2 if C2 does decide to ravage, and that still sees C3, which is not really that big of a priority, but feels a little better to go in that direction. And then we shatter homesteads to kill the guy in C7. Next turn, play these 3 cards and use Lightning's Boon on Fractured Days. Raging Storm to kill the Explorer in C6. Harbingers to Harbinge, I guess. Could use it to get rid of Singleton Dahan, I guess. That should be fine. So Fractured Days, we've decided on this. Move a presence, range 4. I kind of would like to be on C3, but I guess if Lightning's over here, we don't need C3 visibility per se. Actually, we want to be on board F, I think, because board F is more strongly protected if we get rid of F8. So I'm moving to either F4 or F6. F6 has Vital Strength, Sacred Sight, which means Blight is harder to get in there. F4 already has a blight. But if I'm in there, I don't know what that really means, but I'd be there. I kind of want to move my presence as far away as possible, and that said, if I do want to keep the Sacred Sight for whatever reason, the only way to get to F6 is through H7. Yeah. Interesting. So what was I going to play, if anything? The only thing I was thinking of was Blur the Arc of Years. I might just not do it. I don't think there's really a reason to spend 1 energy on that right now. It's not going to hit any thresholds. I guess the only issue is that H8 has no real solution, but I guess that's what Absolute Stasis is for next time, if I can afford all that. We'll see. So I don't need this. I guess I do need it for next turn, but I can add a presence to get it next turn. I don't think I really need to be in F6, that said. So let's just put it into F4 using this presence. keep this sacred site in case I need to target H8 with absolute stasis. We're going to gain... Ooh, scroll bar on this. Was this the interface we had last time? I don't remember. Gain volcanic eruption. And then we will forget the past returns. And then we will gain 6 energy. And not use a single one. What a great turn 1. I'm playing 2 cards. So might as well destroy this now, as it will immediately stop visibility to H4. Sans build. And then explore jungles. Alright, so then draw into F8, taking from the jungles, and none of the Dahan. So that turn took like 28 minutes to plan out and 1 minute to execute. I love Spirit Island. Okay. I think that's kind of one of the nice things about events, though, is that also we don't have life's balanced tilts. Which, if we were playing with standard Jagged Earth rules... Wait. Was it this expansion that ruled that the top card is discarded? I don't remember. Because, like, Branching Claw added events. So maybe Jagged Earth added the rule that it gets discarded. Anyway, if this did go off on the first turn, what would have happened? The energies of life shift towards destruction, bringing waste and disease to the animals of the island. Death is a part of life, but does this go too far? You may let destruction have its day or fortify the resilience of life. Well, obviously wouldn't have 4 energy per player. On each board, remove a beast, add a disease. For each board, discard the top minor power. If it is fast, add a blight. Invaders and Dahan have -1 health, minimum 1 this turn. So removing beasts, hey! That would have almost emptied the board of beasts if Russia didn't add extra ones, which would have been interesting. But possible extra blight for no reason. Disease, I guess. 1,000 small struggles on each board with 4 more buildings and 4 fewer Dahan. Add blight to a land without Dahan. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice thing about events, I guess, is that we no longer have that issue of 28 minutes of planning, 1 minute of execution, as this event throws in a wrench and you have to redecide everything at that point, I guess. Makes turns more exciting than simply what is the mystery of the Explore card. Okay, so... do I need to do this growth option this turn? I could just do this again to make sure I have millions of energy. If I do that, I could also just get to 2 card plays for whatever reason, but that seems a bit silly. I guess the question is, do I want to do millions of card plays this turn or not? We gained the energy so I could afford Volcanic Eruption. Now that I can do that, do I need to actually play anything else? Because, like, these powers aren't necessarily helpful. We do know that we have a power here, because we're definitely doing this middle growth. And they did explore jungles, so F2 is a good candidate for a sacred site. And since you struggle at gaining powers, it's probably just going to be a minor. Especially because if you do want to play 2 cards, it's going to be guard the healing land and nothing else. Yeah, we don't need a perfect stillness F2, and we don't have rituals in a useful place yet. Alright, so minor. And if we, for whatever reason, can hit a sun, 2 earth, and 2 plant, we could repeat, but no one ever cares about that. Hazard spread. Choose a type of token from Badlands, Beasts, Disease, Strife, Wilds that exists in an adjacent land. Choosing disease costs 1 energy. add one of that type of token to target land. Well, Strife is very easy to get in this game. Can we use that to great effect? Well, we're going to be strifing C6. And there's nothing neighboring that, so not immediately. We could add more beasts, which is fantastic. Isolate target land. Each invader does -1 damage. That's also an interesting one. Mesmerize Tranquility. So normally this would mean that explorers do nothing, but since this is Russia, they deal 2 damage, so this makes them only deal 1 damage, which is nice, as that means that we could prevent a Ravage from actually going off. That was going to go off, but I'm not entirely sure about that either. Delusions of Danger pushes an explorer or generates 2 fear. We don't have a viable place for that, but we could keep that in our pocket. I mean, we could decide not to play 2 cards this turn. Save that for next turn. If we isolate F2, they still see F4 through H7. They still see F5 and F6 through F... No, sorry, this will be dead, so actually they won't see those. These will be gone. So so the only inner land they can see on this board is F4, and it's a 50% chance they explore mountains anyway. But that said, that means isolating F2 does nothing, actually. Because if it's wetlands, that doesn't stop F1. If it's mountains, they still see it through H7, so... But isolate could be pretty good if our goal is to keep inner lands isolated. Might be better to just isolate F4, I guess, but we're not growing into there. We could take Delusions of Danger just to generate 2 fear, I guess. That's another thought. If I want to hit these thresholds, which, again, no one ever really cares about, Hazard Spread gives me Earth and Plant, which we need more of than anything else. But I'm not even hitting the first threshold this turn if I'm playing Guard the Healing Land. The only way I could hit this is if I play Rituals. But that means F1 is screwed. But it would allow me to repeat hazards. To what effect? I don't know. Range 2 Sacred Site. Could use that to add 2 beasts, I guess. I think hazards is a good pick. I think Mesmerize Tranquility is the second best pick. We could just isolate F4 with it. Oh, but we can't, right? We talked about that. But we can't use Mesmerize Tranquility this turn anyway. Hazard Spread we can only barely use as well. We could use it to add beasts, which is fine. Beasts are stonks. Add beasts to H7. Maybe the beasts do something. I don't have range. I'm just kidding. Or no, I will, because that... Right, yeah, okay. So I'm going to take hazards. I guess before I make that decision, it doesn't really matter because I can undo it. Before I make that decision, we do have a power choice over here if I desire. Lightning doesn't get a power choice until Reclaim. I'm so used to the old school undo where you have to make all these points of no return decisions before you decide on power cards, but that's not this version of Spirit Island anymore. But when I first played Spirit Island, there was no undo, so... Actually, is that true? I don't know. I don't know if that's true. What game had no undo when I first played it? That we had to actually commit to decisions. It might have been Spirit Island, actually, or maybe even multiplayer. I do distinctly remember no undo being a thing. Might have been multiplayer Spirit Island. That's it. That makes sense because there was also a no undo issue with Sentinels on Handelabra Live, which is what basically led to one of the greatest Sentinels games of all time, where it was Chairman and Rook City, and I think they were down to just one hero and they managed to salvage it. Or no, they weren't down to one hero. All of the heroes survived, but it was really tough. It was the Night Mist showcase, that's what it was. But it was also a multiplayer showcase. This is ancient history, by the way. I don't think anyone really remembers that game. Only I do. But it's still an epic game. If you ever are looking for an old, vintage Handelabra Live to watch, look up the Night Mist demo. Because that was an epic game. Alright, so we're definitely playing Volcanic Eruption. Range 1 mountain. So I'm just double checking that I do this right, because, you know, targeting is almost always an issue if there's an issue. But range 1 from a mountain. We are in a mountain. That's the volcano that's erupting. 6 fear, 20 damage, kills everything in there. There's no Dahan, there's no beasts. Adds a blight, but that's fine. And we're not hitting the thresholds. If we were hitting the thresholds, that would be pretty fun, but also very blighty, but you know. But if I'm taking this, it's probably +2 card plays and gain a time and a presence to get to 2 energy. Yeah, then that gives me 9 energy. I can play Volcanic Eruption and 1 other card, but does the 1 other card matter? I guess there is a power card here that I don't know about. But it feels like I'm not really capitalizing on the card plays. That it might be better off to gain 3 time or +2 energy or some number of times and gain 1 of these powers. Probably a minor one, but Gift of Power would be a pretty good minor one. Unless there's something else to do. I guess Carapace Land was a thought for H8 once upon a time. But our goal, I guess our thinking there was absolute stasis, just so it doesn't ravage. But it is 6 damage. Defend 3 is not enough. Defend 4 is not enough. Defend 4 would keep a Dahan alive. And that's it. But if this blights, it destroys the beast. So preventing it would be nice. I'm just not sure that we really have a means of preventing it. Do we gain a major again? I don't think these are necessarily helpful. I guess Mountain Jungle. It's not Mountain Jungle. Or we could do 2 damage in there, which kills 2 explorers and makes it easier to defend, but then we don't have the defend anymore either, so. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think I want to add a presence so I have more presence on the board, as we said that was an issue. And next turn we'll just do this to gain 1 of these powers maybe and use the defend that way or something. I guess we could gain the major. Whoops. Because I do have this targeting jungles. Although the jungles don't really have Dahan in them either. Yeah, I'm leaning towards this for this turn and then this for next turn. So let's try that. Just so I do something. All right, so we're going to gain a minor. Looking for moon, sun, air. We have moon, air. That's really the biggest. Interestingly, Lightning Spoon makes Here There Be Monsters pretty good. So we gained a moon off of this growth also. Volcanic Eruption doesn't give an element, but if I do +2 card plays, I'm at 3 card plays, so I can do Volcanic Eruption, Here There Be Monsters, and with the +1 energy, I can play one of these, which we were thinking of Absolute Stasis. That doesn't give me enough moon. I think we do get Visions of Shifting Future, though, right? 1 sun, 2 moon, 2 air, yeah. What was I looking for this one, though? Resolve a slow power now? That's not even important. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. It's not really that important. I guess I was just thinking, like, can I hit elements? But yeah. Doing a slow power now is essentially what Lightning's giving me, and we don't care about it on Vital Strength. Unless there's a reason to want to do F1 with it instead of Guard the Healing Land. There's only 2 Dahan in there. But I don't know. But with Here There Be Monsters, if I grow into H8, we still have that problem though that it's not defended, and well, I am still Absolute Stasising it, so it's not really even that important, honestly. I guess, however, I could grow into a jungle and stop a jungle build with this, which isn't a bad thought. Since they grew into H5. Did they grow into C4? Hold on. There's nothing in there. Oh, right. We gathered out. Right. Okay. Yeah, we did. We gathered into F8, that guy. So if I stop this build, then H4 is still not visible. So that thereby prevents another Explorer. Sorry, no, it's visible because H7. Shit. So my previous analysis was wrong. Destroying C7 did not stop H4 visibility because H7 always existed. If target land has any beasts, 1 fear. I mean, it already generates 2 fear, so an extra fear is 50% more than it was before. Range 0, targets not wetlands. So not so sands, but it's only 1 damage. But I mean, like, okay, so all these slow powers can be made fast. I guess, is there any one of these that would be super helpful for, say, H8 beyond just Here There Be Monsters? 1 damage isn't good enough. Destroy 1 explorer, jungle buttons, destroy all's not good enough. And a land with city, so not H8. Another follow-up question, do any of these add tokens? And the answer is Territorial Strife does. So for instance, since we're considering hazards, if I add a strife with Territorial Strife, that could then be copied with hazards. Only if it's in an adjacent land. I assume adjacent doesn't mean its own land, but I could be wrong. Is that in the glossary? Sharing a border or corner. Okay. So, no. Like a strife the city in F2. Not that it needs to be strifed, as we will have that sacred site there. But I could copy the strife over to F1. That said, that also serves no purpose as we're still guarding that healing land, probably. Unless there's a reason to try to keep it for a land with blight. Or if I want to do rituals, but I think we want to do rituals still. In a land with only 2 Dahan. And if we're thinking about blurring the arc of years for whatever reason, which I don't think we were, potentially adding a strife allows a build in Ravage to be fine if there's a disease in there, but I don't think there's a valid place for that. I'm pretty sure this is still hazards. Nonetheless. We can already add strife with lightning, so maybe I don't take territorial strife. So I think I take care of the monsters just because elements that aren't immediately helpful. And since I do have Days That Never Were, which I forgot about, I think we put territorial strife in there as I don't think these two were particularly good. I mean, destroying all explorers against Russia is cool, but I'm gonna take this one. Okay. So I need to be in H8 now. So we want to take off energy, and then we want to gain time off of energy. And then +2 card plays. Volcanic Eruption, Absolute Stasis, here are the Remonsters. And so we can look at the top card of the Invader deck or the Event deck, and then return it. So looking at the Invader deck, and we could do this fast. Although I think we're doing here the monsters fast. I guess it's not super vital that that's fast, but still. Probably putting the town into F3. Although there is a 50-50 on wetlands. I don't want to put it in H1 because that's building. I don't want to put it in H6 because of interland visibility things, although it's still visible, but you know. Anyway. Presence goes here. We play this. We play this. I mean, the only other thing was that Rituals does give this, if I did decide on that. I guess the thinking, if I don't do Here There Be Monsters, but I do the Strife one, I Strife this city, and then I hazards, and I repeat hazards. That defends F1. But I'm doing this just so I have a repeat. And then Rituals, which I guess with Lightning we can try to set up for, but I don't think I'm in range of really anything that would be helpful for that. So I think I stick with my original thought. Lightning gains energy and a presence. And this is your last presence for a while, maybe, so make it count. We have range 1 visibility to every land on board C. Board F is pretty well contained at the moment, so I guess we grow into board H. This is range 1. So the only way to get into board H is through H4. So I think that's fine. Play my hand. So Lightning's Boon to do Volcanic Eruption. How many times have you played Volcanic Eruption on turn 2 in Spirit Island? I'll wait. That said, before I do all that, well, maybe I need lightning spoon first. I could do visions. I guess I was thinking I'm doing this. I might not. I could do it so I know exactly what the invader card is, but that seems, I mean, and then this gets shuffled, but if it's stage 2 next, then we know that the next card is exactly the stage 1 card. But, and then if it's stage 1, we know exactly what it is. But I don't think that knowledge actually really helps us at all. I don't think it informs any decisions. So waiting for the slow phase, I think, is more prudent. I think that gives us more ability to control our actions. So yeah, it's going to be volcanic eruption. And then here there be monsters. And put this town into F3. Stasis this land, so it ceases to exist. Suppose there's an argument that I could... Also, it put this automatically because there's no options. Okay. I suppose there's an argument that I could cease it to exist and then here there be monsters somewhere else. Because, like, this town doesn't matter because, like, it ceases to exist. I could push this town out instead. Which I don't think serves much purpose as H5 is building. But I guess I could have stopped the H5 build instead with that. Which might be more important. Is it more important? I mean, the advantage of H8 is that there is a beast in there, so it generates 1 fear. I think that's okay. Okay, so guard this land. Hazards spread, which actually, because H8 doesn't exist, which I can undo, but because it doesn't exist, I can't copy its beasts. But I think it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. This is the only disease that's left. I think I'm really just using it to copy beasts. I think I'm just gonna put a beast here in case the event does something. All right, you have 3 air, so all of these are fast. Strife this town. And unfortunately, it's a bit of a waste, but we do want to kill that explorer so we don't get that blight. And I was thinking we could... Actually, if I Harbinge here, I get to put a Dahan into C1 and into C6. So, okay. That gets rid of both singletons, and it puts Dahan in the 2 lands that are important. Alright. Here we go. Event card. Relentless Optimism. For the rest of this turn, don't generate fear for destroying buildings. Yikes. Foreign diseases. On each board in the land with the most combined invaders plus Dahan, minimum 1 of each, add a disease, 2 damage to Dahan. Offerings of Pattern and Dance. Each spirit with at least 2 Dahan among all its lands gains 1 energy. Wait. This is grammar. This should be gains. Because if you ignore all this text, it says each spirit gain 1 energy. Each spirit gain 1 energy. So. Offerings of Pattern and Dance. Okay. Very important note. Very important. All right, don't generate fear for destroying buildings. It is unfortunate. I think it's just 2 fear we're missing. I don't think we're really getting much on the slow phase, right? Land with most combined invaders in Dahan. Added disease, 2 damage to Dahan. Most combined. So we can stop this build. I'm not sure that serves a lot of purpose. This also doesn't really serve a lot of purpose. The problem is Singleton Explorer is still Blight, which is really annoying. Annoyingly, that, and I can't stop that. There's also no choice here. So really the only choice was here. Stopping this build doesn't stop the Ravage, but we would just have to strafe the Explorer and then it's done. Or I put the disease here and I don't have to worry about that land for the rest of the game, most likely. The dead Dahan doesn't actually matter. This town dies. I feel like coastal disease is more important, although it's only immediately useful this turn. They're not exploring sands, so it doesn't stop that visibility per se. It's only mountains or wetlands. And the C5's already C. Screw it. I'm putting disease in the inner land. And then spirits with Dahan, which, because this land ceases to exist, it doesn't count. So only vital strength. Oh, that's an interesting thought. Because I killed this Dahan, you don't get the energy. I think that's actually significant. So we're gonna put it here, as then you still have 2 Dahan in your lands. Okay. That is a calculus that's important. Fear card says, on each board, remove an explorer from a land matching a Ravage card. Well, I guess everything still dies in F1 at least. Rip Fear. Only 1 build. Impressive. Mountains explore after all. It's 8:30 and this is only the end of turn 2. Wow. Okay. Well, I feel like we're shuffling that deck's top 2 cards. I feel like the Invader deck, since it's start of stage 2, isn't really that helpful to look at. I mean, it's anything like sands, wetlands, mountains, jungle, coastal. So, like, I guess it narrows down the choice, but since it's being shuffled in the top 2 cards, it doesn't immediately help us, right? So I suspect that the event deck's a little better to look at, as there's more text on there, right? So let's take a look. Gradual corruption. On each board, add blight to a land with buildings. Spirits may prevent this on all boards by paying X energy per boards to protect, where X is the number of cards in the invader discard. This may be 0. It's currently 1. So a little too late for that. On each board with disease, 1 damage to each invader and 1 damage to each Dahan. Remove 1 disease from each land where this destroys any buildings. Blessings of bounty and health. Each spirit may add 1 Dahan to one of its lands with Dahan. Okay, so like we obviously have to return and shuffle it. But before we do that, it's 50-50 whether this is next or 2 turns from now. If it's next, we have the Sands card in the discard, so it's 1 energy per board to protect. If it's 2 turns from now, there will be 2 cards in the discard, so it's actually 2 energy per board to protect, which is annoying. If we do Blight the Island instead, we're removing beasts from a land with Blight, removing wilds from a land with Blight, which I don't think actually does anything unless there is a Blighted land with wilds, or with beasts. In each land with disease, damage each invader, damage each Dahan, remove disease from each land where it destroys anything. I think this is the only disease we have right now. Maybe, no, this one's gone. So only F1. So it just damages that Dahan, does nothing else. And then Spirit may add Dahan to one of its lands with Dahan. So we're adding Blight and Dahan. And maybe spending energy to prevent things. Okay. Annoyingly, let's see. So board C, there's already a Blight in that land. Board F, it's only F. Oh, sorry, it's these 2. So it could be F3. Board H, both lands are Blight. I guess H7, actually. Okay. So you do have to be careful, I guess. Lightning is reclaiming, so let's do that first. Gain a minor, as we are in reclaim loop. We'd like to have fire and air, and swarming wasps gives both, and adds beasts, and pushes up to, or pushes up to 2 explorers in a land with beasts. Cool. Seems like the obvious pick. Granted, we're only adding strife with this power instead of destroying buildings, but we still generate fear. We could scour the land to destroy a lot of towns. We don't really have a lot of towns. Gathering Dahan, damage per Dahan is a nice power. Badlands, which can be copied with Vital Strength, is also a thought. But it's probably Swarming Wasps. Is Vital Strength gaining a power? Probably not. You probably want to spend this turn gaining energy. Hypothetically, I guess you could gain a power and get enough energy to play both of these cards if you so wanted. But most likely it'd be double stacking a Sacred Site next turn if you did that. By the way, F2 is not blighting, because 5 damage is not enough to blight this land when Vital Strength of Resilience is here. This is a concern. And technically also these. So we do have to think about how to solve at least one of those. Hopefully H5, which... This could be a good turn for Port Time Sideways. So there will be no Ravages or builds on board H, but double Ravages and builds on board, say, F. It could also be board C because we could move our presence. For that to work, I have to gain 3 time off this, which should be easily accomplished. We're also gaining a card from here. So is there a way to get rid of one of those explorers? I mean, we have to solve C1 in any case, so that ravaging twice doesn't really matter too much. As long as we kill the explorer with how we solve it, really. Or I guess we could strife it. Actually, if we strife it, that would be enough. Okay. Getting rid of C3 then is the next thing, which we could do Raging Storm on. Okay, that's a very interesting thought. don't think building and ravaging is a good idea still. I guess Year of Perfect Stillness, right? They skip all actions. So build, then ravage. These are actions, right? So they skip them. I could double check. If an effect, such as Year of Perfect Stillness, skips all actions, what is affected? Anytime the invaders would ravage, build, or explore that turn any number of times. This includes any normal actions that come from the invader cards, and also any extra actions that come from effects, like the Power Manifest Incarnation, or the effect or the event New Cash Crops Take Hold. Cool. Also, can invader actions happen in a place that isn't a land, such as the Endless Dark? Oh, that's an interesting thought. The answer is no. Because it can't be resolved. Okay. Cool. So if we use Perfect Stillness, they skip all actions, including the double builds. So this seems like a good candidate for Poor Time Sideways, as this stops both of these. It stops both of these. Stops the Explorer and the Escalation. Obviously, it happens twice on here, but this Ravage is done. This Ravage is empty. This build is prevented with Perfect Stillness. So the only issue is the double Explore and then double Escalation as the result. So I guess, yeah, Port Time Sideways into board F is a really good candidate then. And then Strifing C1, I guess, is that's the only other thing that's at risk of blighting. So that solves that. The mountains builds, we prevented those. Those aren't building. This one's already empty. So really the only build left is C3. So we could do Raging Storm in there. Could also not do Raging Storm in there. Neither of these lands have wilds, so we can't push the Explorer with Swarming Wasps. We could push this Explorer, but not really that vital. Okay. Anyway, what was I thinking about for power from here? I think I never actually answered that. I think I got distracted with what I could do with Poor Time Sideways. There's also Blur the Arc of Years, but... So if we Perfect Stillness F4, I guess that was what we were originally looking at. We remove the Blight. Invaders build and ravage, but they can't because we skip all actions there. So really we just remove the Blight in F4. So during the invader phase, resolve things if you're... So we can't say build and ravage ability, but you can't because you're doing it one fewer time, but that's not true. If I get a Dahan into F4, that would be kind of nice as we add an extra one. Pact would do that, but it doesn't give elements. And we can't... We need the elements because we need it to strife this turn. So I guess that's what we're partly looking for here. If this gathers the Han, and we can make it faster, we probably have Lightning Spoon this turn. So we could use that to get more Dahan into F4. I guess actually, if we do decide to build and ravage, maybe defend would be good. Confounding Mists into F4. As long as we can get the Hun in there. I guess we don't have that unless we're taking this. If we can take 2 of these powers, that'd be really good, huh? Fair enough. Could also strife cities, as we've seen. Don't have energy for a major this turn, so we probably don't want to take a major, especially because we're gaining 3 times, so we're not getting energy through this growth anyway. But defend 8 is a lot of defend. And we were thinking defend 8, but we don't need it right now. We do have a sun here. Does that do much? I'm playing these 2 plus 1 of these, maybe? Wait, I can't play all these. I guess that's okay. I can play up to 2 of these. Actually, it has to be a free power if I'm playing one of these. I guess Gift of Power is a free power. Okay. Because I'm not getting extra plays and I need to spend 3 time. So I can actually pour time sideways. This costs my energy, so I need a 0 energy card, and that would be Call to Ferocity, Carapace Land, or Gift of Power. It is probably Gift of Power just because it's that good. I gain a sun. This gives me moon and air. I don't have a 0 energy moon air power, so I can't hit this. I don't have 3 suns or 3 moons, so I can't do this. Gift of Power doesn't give a sun. Actually, none. I guess Call of Ferocity gives me a sun, but it doesn't give me a moon. So yeah, I can't hit any of these thresholds this turn, so that's just out. Alright, so let's just take Swarming Wasps. Actually, Swarming Wasps adds beasts. But I don't think defend 3 is what I wanted, right? We have 2 Earths. I do not have 2 Earths. It's just going to be Gift of Power. Gift of Power and throw it to Lightning, maybe, so you don't have to reclaim next turn. Not sure about Lightning's Boon. Not too likely for it to be helpful this turn. I guess that would have been a way to get Dahan, except we don't have neighboring Dahan into F4 that Lightning can see. Shadow Homesteads. There's not really many towns. There's towns here. We don't need Ranging... I keep saying Ranging Storm. I think Raging Storm for next turn, assuming that they do double Explore into board F. Or double Escalation into F8, for instance. Or F7. This is F7. Yeah. Yeah, F7. Keeping Raging Storm next turn, assuming that I don't reclaim. I could just hoard energy. Maybe hoarding energy is correct. And assuming that I'm not reclaiming next turn, saving a Shatter Homesteads for next turn is good. I do need the Strife for F for C1 though. So I do need to play something else. I guess it's Lightning Spoon. I guess I can combo Harbingers with Rituals. Maybe. Maybe. This is range 1 Sacred Site. We don't have... There's like not really anything other than F2. I guess also F3, but Lightning doesn't have visibility to either of the neighboring Dahans, those lands. I don't know. I'm confused. Let's consider this. Nothing on board H is happening. We're moving a presence onto board F. Do I need a sacred site? We need... I don't know what we need. We're taking Gift of Power. I guess I could take Call of Ferocity and grow into F2 and gather 3 to Han that way, and then you could do rituals there. Or into F3 and gather 3 to Han and do rituals there with Lightning Spoon. It's like something. The problem is that's not really a relevant land. I'd kind of rather do rituals in F2 to kill the city. I mean, I'm definitely playing these 2 powers. I'm definitely probably gaining this. And getting 3 energy. It's going to be a lot of energy, but if we do get the energy for preventing Blight's event card, it would be helpful energy to have. And this is range 1 presence. Which isn't really that far. I think I'm just gonna go into F3 just so it's 1 step closer towards being hard to blight. Call of Ferocity doesn't even need me to be in the land, by the way. I'm thinking I work towards trying to... Well, actually, I should probably work towards helping my own board. I think Lightning is pretty good with this board. I don't need to help out there. So... Mountains build... I mean, we're stopping all of that, so none of that really matters, but H2 is blighted. So maybe I work towards having a sacred site near H2 so that I can protect H2 if needed. Now, how close do I need to be to H2? Let's just be in it, because why not? Let's take Call of Ferocity then. And then we'll gain 3 time. I don't think I'm playing Blur of the Arc of Years, right? I think I've spent all this time trying to decide how can I use all my powers. I think that was the one power that doesn't really have any use. Can't even afford it anyway. But like the only thought was that we can remove this blade, right? Yeah, that was the only thing we could do. Okay. Okay. Sorry, it took 1,000,000 years to get there. I can also use both of these. I have Lightning Spoon, it doesn't work because this is slow and this is slow. Okay. I could still kill this town if I really wanted slow. Oh, I need... Wait. Oh, no, I have 4 times that. Okay. Yeah, let me just... Okay. Let's just take this back. I can't decide on whether I want that or not, so I think it's just not helpful. Let's do this. Let's commit. It's almost 9 o'clock. I've been streaming for 2 hours. This is only the start of turn 3. But, you know, fractured days be fractured days. So myself and let's just take all the ones we just took back. And let's move. We don't need the sacred site, so let's move this to this. So on board H, resolve invader and each board land actions one fewer time. On board F, resolve invader and each board land actions one more time during the invader phases. Invader phase, singular. Perfect stillness. So these don't build. These ravages don't matter. Okay. Strife the single explorer, as sad as it is. Add a beast. I feel like adding a beast here is nice. Next turn, we could take Carapace land. And would have range +1. I just said I would probably... Like, I was probably going to take this growth option to take advantage of card plays, and I'm proceeding to not do any of that. It is what it is. Push 2 Dahan. Range 1. Again, not very many candidates for this. I do get a fear if I push it into H2. The Singleton Dahan is actually safe from the Jeff Dugan event because it doesn't work on board H. So I could just generate fear by pushing that Dahan. I could push these 2 Dahan into C2 to generate fear as well, but I kind of want these guys here. Because we're going to defend that maybe next turn. So then... Yeah, Lightning Spoon. It's not really going to do anything. I could take Gift of Power fast. Rituals doesn't really matter fast or slow. Unless it generates enough fear. Target land is at least 3 Dahan. There's not a land where that can work. So no. So no! I played this for elements. Is there any reason to do Shatter Homesteads or Raging... No, Raging Storm is important for next turn. Shatter Homesteads. I don't know. I don't think it's relevant this turn either. Okay, whatever. I did this for elements. I don't think taking this town out's gonna do much. Just move the Singleton over, that's fine. And you can do your fast, but not really. Okay. Okay, we did not get the event that we saw, so it's next. We have local diaspora. Local diaspora. I don't know what that word is. In a single land with the most invaders. Single land with the most invaders. Push an explorer town to each adjacent land. Beasts prowl. Each beast generates 1 fear if invaders are present and moves to an adjacent land if not. On each board, which means not board H, but board F twice, push 2 Dahan from a land with blight to a land without blight. Maybe that does something. Maybe not. I don't think it actually does anything. Okay. Single land with the most invaders. I think it's just 2. And it's either H5 or it's F2. I think H5 is better here because F2 is already defended. H5 is not doing anything, but we can gather up guys into H2 to group all the towns into one place. And then I guess you can go here. Keep explorers and invaders in the same place. Beasts generate fear. We have lots of beasts. This one is not in a land with things, so it's the only, I think it's the only one that moves. So you can move into C2, it's fine. I think everything else is fear. Yep. And then on board C and on board F twice, push 2 Dahan from a land with blight to a land without blight. Congratulations, nothing happened. Alright, fear card. In each land with tokens, defend 3. Does nothing. Double Ravage. Double build here, but it didn't work. Again, only one build. Jungle with escalation, but it's going to happen on board F twice. It's interesting. It's going by board C first. On each board, add 2 explorers total among lands with beasts. If you can't, instead add 2 explorers among lands with beasts in a different board. Okay. Something. I don't want to put it here because of the Ravage. Tempted to put it here as it's a good candidate for Raging Storm on a future turn, but it's not doing anything. Maybe I just leave it in C2. Oh, actually, we can put them along any number of lands, or 2 explorers total among lands with beasts, so it actually doesn't have to double up. In this case, though, it has to quadruple up as it's the only valid land. Fair enough. This is why we have Raging Storm. Actually, are we even using Raging Storm? It's not Wetlands next turn. The answer is I don't know. But they are doing jungles again. Let's do Gift of Power to Lightning so you don't have to reclaim immediately. We'd like fire, air, a single fire is fine. Call the Bloodshed, damages per Dahan, Visions of Fiery Doom, pushes an Explorer town, and generates 2 fear, but at range 0. Okay. I was wondering if I give another spirit a power choice, does it do anything? But it's only when you gain a power card, not when a power card is gained by your action. So, language is important. I love Call to Bloodshed. I'm not sure that is strong in this game. We do have the combination of Harbingers and Call to Bloodshed to try to, you know, group Dahan in a place where they can do super damage. Visions of Fire Doom is basically guaranteed 2 fear, as we all have only fire cards on Lightning. But it is range 0, and it's kind of hard to guarantee that there are things at range 0 from me. Although it is helpful next turn, H4 and C4 have single explorers. So 2 fear and push an explorer versus maybe combo with another power to kill an explorer, I guess. I guess I take Visions of Fiery Doom. We have Rituals. Rituals could just kill the 2 explorers in F5 and stops the build there. Because they did do double explorer in board F, that's why there's 2 explorers there and why there's a million over here. 3, 5, 7, 9. So this builds a town, but I can only... It takes 8 additional damage to add Blight, so 10 damage adds Blight. So 11 damage is a Blight. So that is something to watch out for. But Rituals here, like, we can't get more fear any other way other than maybe killing a town, but stopping the build there, always helpful. So I'm happy with that. Okay. So on Lightning, I'm tempted to do a Sacred Site and get to 3 energy per turn. We could also get to 4 card plays, which is not helpful this turn, but would be helpful in the Reclaim turn. But that basically just means you would be able to put 4 fear and 2 strafe in a place, which is not, you know, as useful per se as it was with Old Lightning, which would destroy a town and a city. Or instead destroy a city, I guess. In any case, it's a reclaim on Earth, but Earth is just adding our presence, so that can wait for a sec. One sec. I have to open my second can here. Okay. All right. We're going to claim, I guess Carapace land was our pick here, as that protects this. These do have to be considered. Don't have solutions for both of them. We do have Visions of Fiery Doom, which could be used to stop one of them, or Raging Storm to stop one of them. Raging Storm into F7 is tempting, but it's not an immediate priority as they're not building there. Earth is reclaiming. And this is also a threat, isn't it? And then builds in these spots. And to be sure, we do still have lightning. We do have Pandemonium here to put a strife down. I guess putting a strife in H4 and Raging Storm into C4 is a valid option. It stops the build and it stops the blight. And then H3 is the only threat. There's nothing in H3. H4 is a little more important to protect as there is a beast there. Oh, and also we do know what this event card is, by the way. So let's think for a sec. Let's remind ourselves what it was. Put a blight in a land with buildings. Prevent this by spending 2 energy for each land to be protected. Okay. Forget what the other ones were. I think it was add a Dahan to a land with Dahan, or a spirit may add a Dahan to one of their lands with Dahan or something. I forget what the second effect was. This is one of those situations where being able to look at the event deck could be... I guess what I could do... Although it's going to be hard to spot it, but it is here somewhere. I guess there's actually this many event cards, so it's a bit easier to see. Okay, it was this one. So we'd have to spend 2 energy per board to protect. And each land with disease, 1 damage to each invader, 1 damage to each Dahan to remove disease. Do we still have that disease? I don't know. Each spirit may add a Dahan to one of its lands with Dahan. Okay. So, we don't have the disease there anymore. In fact, there are no lands with disease, so that doesn't happen. Spirit may add a Dahan to one of their lands with Dahan, however, is a thing. And we're also putting blights down unless we spend 2 energy to prevent it, and it has to be in lands with buildings. So really, this is the only place we could put a blight down. I don't know what the icon should be for that. That would be an okay blight as long as that Ravage is dealt with, which I think it is. Right? When Ravage adds blight, destroy a beast. Yeah, so this beast doesn't care about blight from non-Ravages. So that's fine. Every other building has a presence in there. So, oh, also this actually has a disease. Actually, I lied to myself. We have no disease. There is a disease in F1, which means that Dahan takes 1 damage. And that's all that I can speak of. And also, we add Dahan in lands with presence that have Dahan, which for lightning is currently C6. For earth, it's either F3 or F6. And for fractured days, not shattered, shattered days, H2. Unless we put a presence somewhere else. I feel like this was a good power to take. It's a guaranteed thing. We also have this, which build and ravage. If we could provide defend with earth, I guess we could combo that way. Otherwise, I just want to remove Blight and add Dahan in a land where there's no invaders. Which isn't very many. Okay, so I don't really have anything, is what that means. Jungle build. There's a lot of threats in F2, but F2 could be stopped with perfect stillness. We were gonna, yeah, so we had these decisions down. This was a blight. That's a build right now, and that's a build. Not the ocean. So there's nothing in there, so that's fine. Nothing in here, nothing in here. And I guess also this is an issue. I haven't solved that yet. Could be perfect stillness, or not perfect stillness, guard the healing land. It removes a blight. Kind of an overkill thing, but it is what it is. Do we get good elements off Carapace land? No. Okay. So I don't know where I want this presence to be. We just need to be at range 1 from C3. So I need to be in C4 or C2. Or any neighboring land, really, but there's no Dahan in those lands, so it's not relevant for that. I mean, I guess I could just go straight into C3. And we could put extra Dahan in there as the result, but I don't think the extra Dahan are that important. Unless there's no other valid place for it, I guess. I mean, if I could grow into C1, we could put an extra Dahan in there instead of C6, but that would be Lightning's choice, which is a valid choice, really, unless I want to grow more into this board to help out, which I think I do. So I think you're growing into H2, right? I think that makes sense. I'm gonna do energy. Especially because energy this turn is important. And your reclaim, you're doing energy because energy this turn is important. This is range 2. Is there a place we would like to grow your Dahan that's not like in these? The answer is probably yes. Because these lines are empty. I could just put you in F4 though and put a sacred site there next turn. Oh, but it's ravaging. Sorry, it's this turn that's ravaging, so that's not actually that important. H1 actually I could grow into. That's fine. Sacred site solves that next turn. It's empty. Ooh, I could put a disease in F2 and then damaging each invader kills 3 explorers for essentially 1 energy. That's pretty good. Still don't know where I want your presence to go. I am definitely taking Carapace Land. Probably taking 3 time. We don't need millions of energy. We are reclaiming next turn. If I'd like to play both my cards, yes, I would. Okay. And again, your presence. Don't need sacred sites for these. Don't need sacred sites for those. You do have sacred sites here with absolute stasis at range 2 from a sacred site. So maybe I don't need to be at H2 right now, as it's not really doing anything. Let's put the sacred site back here so that I have... It's like close to this one, but at least it sees H8. Okay. So what about F4? Guard Healing Land? It's kind of a waste of a defend. Don't really have anything else other than Perfect Stillness, which I would rather keep for something else, really, so... Alright, so Disease in here. Oh, I played the wrong one. It does spend extra energy, but that's fine. At least I think it's fine. Mountains Ravage. Alright, so this is defended by this. Wait, no, I don't have... Oh. Okay. Okay. I forgot that I needed to be adjacent with Carapace Land, and I was making that decision and messed up. So move this one. Let's just go in C2, as that's the bigger problem, really. Okay. All right, back to our status quo. Defend. Disease. Carapace. Delve and Ravage is incorrect. Stop this build. Just go into F7, you'll dice to Raging Storm someday. Ravage. What was my plan for this? Oh, was it this? Or was this? Could remove this blight. Build and Ravage there is wrong. Build and Ravage there is wrong. Remove this blight. Added to Han. Wrong. So I think it's just remove blight, since we're probably adding blight. Take it from H5. I could spend time to repeat this power, but in the same land. Yeah, so don't do it, because it's not doing anything. We have 2 air. We've used 1 slow power. So Raging Storm going slow is probably fine. Shatter Homestead's fast. Does that do much? The only ravage of concern is H3. That's okay if that blights. Each board has a city, so we can't stop the event card from putting a blight down by preventing a building from existing, per se. There's a jungle that's building a town. At least here, also here. This one I don't care about. This one maybe I care about. I'm also reclaiming next turn, so I can do it in the fast phase if needed. So I don't think I really need to use these powers fast. I don't think it's going to affect much. The best I could do is stop a Blight in H3, but I'd rather save Raging Storm for an Explorer or for F7 if they explore wetlands, for instance. So I think I'm done. Alright, there's the event card. Add Blight to a land with buildings. Prevent this by spending 2 energy. So this one's fine. There's nothing in there. And every other choice has presence. We only have 3 energy left. Okay, so we are losing our presence. Shattered. Fractured Days presences are hard to get on the board, so I guess we're losing a Vital Strength presence then. And then prevent this one. And it's gonna come from you because you're energy junkie. And then this. Dahan. Fractured Days doesn't have any Dahan. I guess if I had gone into C3, we would have gotten a Dahan that way. Which I think we can undo, as this is not new information. But I don't want to, as I've undone a million times already. I want to stop. So put Dahan here. And this choice is a little more vacuous. That one, I guess, so it's not a singleton. Alright, mountains. Jungle. Coastal. Okay, so no escalation. And it's only slow powers here. Damage, destroy town. Okay. So C1, because it's ravaging and it's coastal, stopping all of that would be cool. We could, of course, strife the town and the Dahan kills it. The Explorer's good candidate for Raging Storm this turn. Each one is 246 damage, so Sacred Sight is enough for that. So that takes care of both the Blights. The builds are another question, but still only Terror level 1, but seems wrong. Okay, I like this. I feel like stopping a coastal city is important, because this can be strifed, so. I don't have range there. Even though this is defended, I think it's still fine to do that. Okay, so you're reclaiming and gaining 2 time. You're reclaiming and also gaining a power card. Which hit undo on. Fire, air. A little more emphasis on fire. The only fire card is Sunset's Fire. Flows across the land. 1 fear, 1 damage. Pay 1 energy to deal 1 damage in an adjacent land. That's terrible. Dire Metamorphosis. Adds a Badlands, a Wilds. Badlands, a Beasts, a Disease, a Strife, a Wilds, and a Blight. It's literally one of all. I want one of everything. Range 1, 1 fear, 1 damage to Dahan, 1 Badlands, 1 Beasts, 1 Disease, 1 Strife, 1 Wilds, and 1 Blight. I like that. Entrap the Forces was a really strong card in my last game, or one of my last games. I don't think it was last week, actually. Hey, Catcher. Metamorphosis. Do all the things! Yep. Fail the Night's Hunt damages each invader, which is normally pretty weak. Didn't this used to say each Dahan deals 1 damage to a different invader? Didn't it used to say that? I'm looking at card catalog for this. Yeah. It used to say each Dahan deals 1 damage to a different invader. But because this is digital, we can rephrase this so it's consistent with other language. Also, Dahan dealing damage, is that normally how it works? Do Dahan deal damage directly? Let's see, what does it say when there's a Ravage? Any surviving Dahan fight back. Yeah, how much damage does it do? I know what it does, but okay, whatever. I was wondering what the exact text is. Do Dahan deal damage, or do invaders just take 2 damage per Dahan? Anyway. I'm sure there was like a reason to word this a little differently. 1 damage to each of those invaders is a little different than each Dahan deals 1 damage. Because I think this says, like, this is implying that the spirit deals the damage a little better. Well, Entrap doesn't do anything this turn, and again, I want to keep fire and air as my resource, and fire is more important, so I'm tempted to just click this. But it's a pretty weak power. I'm not gonna lie. But that said, it's now my forget fodder. In case I decide to do major power lightning. I have +3 energy per turn, I guess we could do major power lightning. Is this a power card? Maybe. I guess we are going to H1, so this is also a power card. Little energy starved at the moment. Weird to say as Earth. Actually, I guess I'm at 6 energy if I really wanted. It could be a major, that said. I think I'm going to take 1 more minor, and then we'll start majoring. I would like Sun, Plant, and Earth if I so decide I want to do my innates, but no one ever cares about innates, so who knows. Target land has Badlands, 1 damage, add a Badlands, defend 1, defend 4, and jungle stands instead. Destroy 3 towns. There's not really that many towns on the board still, although the coastal build is changing that up. 1 fear per type of invader present, push up to 1 explore town per blight. That works in F3. It's 2 fear in F3. And it stops the coastal city. Are they the only real benefit of that? Okay. I accept. Alright. Millions of energy. Reclaim cards and gain up to 2 time. I think for this I want a little more energy. We have a volcanic eruption that I used once. Remember that one turn where I used volcanic eruption and it was fun because it did great things? Let's take energy, and then let's take a card, please. So I could decide to play 2 1 energy cards if I so wanted. Let's see. The only land that's blighting is C1, and it's not blighted if I strife it. So surely that's the strife. Down the road, I would kind of like if I could not just put these icons, but also power card icons. Like drag this power card over here, puts the icon there to remind you that's how you solve that land, maybe. But obviously Jagged Earth is a higher priority than silly UI things. Do we want to port time sideways, by the way? It could be an interesting way to double build coastal lands in a separate board. If we could prevent, like it could be really powerful. Actually, it could be powerful in board C. Because if this is ravaged, it dies. If we get rid of this explorer, it doesn't build. So we just have a double build in C2, which is okay. And in exchange, we don't get like we are exchanging 3 builds for 1 build is what that does on either of these 2 boards. That's an interesting thought. We do have lots of time to spare for it. What else could we do? If we could defend C3, could let it build and ravage. And that would also get rid of everything in there. Also an interesting thought. I only have 2 plays, so if I do want to use Pour Time Sideways, I can't actually do both of those things. We could do Raging Storm to kill C3. A bit of a waste, though. I guess, well, no. Making a slow power fast doesn't necessarily help with this. Here, there be monsters doesn't help with this, also. Perfect Stillness. What if I Perfect Stillness? What if we do that and stop all the builds? I don't know that we can, but that's an interesting thought. Ooh. I don't think this quite works. I could do rituals into F3, not this one. Oh, I don't have the defend one, actually. Okay, I was gonna say defend this. Rituals, and then defend, and then they build and ravage, and then destroy the blight, and then add a Dahan, because that's how that goes. But it doesn't quite work that way because I don't have the defend card. So that's unfortunate. Ooh, but I could do Pour Time Sideways and Absolute Stasis. Ooh. Interesting. So if board C does a double build, then if C2 ceases to exist, C1 ravages and dies, and C3 doesn't have that explorer, well, okay. Do I have enough time for that? Yes. Okay. So it's important that I do Pour Time Sideways before Absolute Stasis, but that solves all of this. Well, okay, it doesn't solve C3. Just kidding. It doesn't solve C3. So which board do I want to not have build? H or F? Probably H. Although Lightning and Earth are more on this board. This was Fractured Days' board, but now Fractured Days is everywhere. Time Lord, Lord of Time is everywhere. Would be an interesting thought if I could stop all the builds, actually, but I feel like that's a little difficult. I mean, if H1 ravages, H1 builds, H1 ravages, Earth doesn't care. F1, F2 ravages, builds, ravages. Earth doesn't care. It's 7 damage there. It's 6 damage there. That's not enough to blight. You need 10 damage to blight. Three, 5, 7, 9. We could push F3 into F2 for whatever reason. I don't know what reason it is, but we could. Could. I'm not saying you can't. Interesting. What about doing slow things fast? Have I talked about that yet? I think I was thinking about it, but didn't vocalize it. Weep for what is lost in F3 fast. Stops a coastal city. Do it with rituals, with lightning spoon. Stops that build altogether. But we don't have perfect stillness. I mean, stillness in H2 is probably the right call. Or we actually hit this threshold and we put 2 strifes down, but there's what in there again? City, a town, and an explorer. So we still need to do something about the explorer and the building town. By the way, I feel like I'm not really getting to a victory condition. I feel like this game has really just been about screwing with the invaders more so than actually beating the invaders. I'll be entirely honest with you. And it's fine. I mean, screwing is fun. I mean, I have to be PG with my language, but screwing is fun. I like to screw with people. I mean, I can't say the other version of that because this is a PG channel, but screwing with people is fun. Did I? Oh, actually this pushes, right? I could push that Explorer out of C3 without wasting Raging Storm, which opens Raging Storm for another location. So, okay, so if I get out of that, if I play this and I play this, I also have this. Does this do anything? Generates lots of fear. I'm not really in a coastal land other than H2, and it's not going to stop H2. But, so getting rid of C3 was one thing that I wanted to do, right? But like Raging Storm kills explorers in H3 or H1. Swarming Wasps, if there were a beast over there, I could do something there. Unfortunately, I don't have hazard spread this turn, so I can't put a beast here that way. I guess I also have to consider that maybe that Lightning Spoon was a play this turn. So I don't have those other things yet. So Lightning Torrent Skies in C1. Swarming Wasps in C3. We still have Lightning Spoon, which is going towards Earth, it looks like. Which means that we could do these 2 powers fast. Although Perfect Stillness was an interesting thought to stop double build. So we're stasising C2 and yeah, so then if we pour time sideways into board C and we stasis C2 and we ravage C1 and we get rid of the explorer in C3, then the double build doesn't actually do anything, and also the double ravage doesn't do anything, which is really interesting. Still a question of which board are we stopping things from happening. I think we said board H was a thought, but it could be board F. As there's just explorers here, there is more in here. We also have rituals, I guess. I guess I could do draw and rituals into H2 fast. Oh, there's also a repeat if I do that. What if I do this twice? I don't have enough time, but what if I did that twice? Oh, God. I could actually do draw twice. Gets the 2 explorers here, 2 explorers here, Dahan in there, just so that this deals 5 damage. And then I can Raging Storm there? Oh. Oh. Okay, we've solved it. We solved it. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm excited. Wait, does the repeat go fast as well? I think it does, right? So draw. It's not really a big deal if it doesn't, honestly. Repeat. Draw. This shrinkage. Raging Storm. Rituals. We're tear level 2. Okay. Strife. Oh, I can't actually target C3 with Swarming Wasps because it has a blade. That is a slight problem. Okay. That is a slight problem. It's not a major problem, actually. I do have to undo these things. But it's okay because you get to watch it again. It's going to be an epic turn. It's going to be so epic. All right, finish playing. We're going to use this one that I said was lame. As long as I have enough air. I actually don't have enough air. Oh. Okay. Never mind. I don't have enough air for that. Okay. I do have to think a little more now. Okay. Stopping this build is really important because if everything goes exactly right, there are no builds. That's what's at stake. Stopping coastal lands from building is epic. But that stupid blight there is screwing that up. Okay, so if I don't do Swarming Wasps and I do... Not that. I do this. The problem is I only have 2 air, so I can only make 2 powers fast. One of them has to be... Is it a big deal if H2 builds, actually? It's probably not a big deal, honestly. Okay, maybe that's the solution. Maybe I accept the compromise. Raging Storm in C3 is really sad, though. Actually, no, I'm not... Oh, I do have the Raging Storm there. Crap. And then I don't have it for next turn, which is a downside because we're putting a lot of Explorers in H2. Man, I wish there was a better way to do this then. Is there a repeat that would work for that? This would be a sacred site, but then the sacred site doesn't exist. Actually, no, this is already range 2. Okay, we could repeat absolute stasis. Okay. Oh, but if I repeat that, I don't repeat draw, so we actually don't get that. Oh, crap. Okay. That is necessary. The plan is to put the presence. We're planning to pour time sideways from board F into board C. Just to be clear about this, in case you didn't gather this from all of my cheers of excitement, we're gonna do this from board F into board C, so that board F doesn't have a coastal build. This goes off twice, but C2 will cease to exist, so it doesn't matter that it's building twice. C1 is ravaging once, which kills the town, and then it doesn't ravage again because it's empty. C3 ideally doesn't have anything in it, so it building twice doesn't matter. And then board H, which is just doing one of each, well, we're planning on putting both of these double explorers into H2 and then using rituals and Raging Storm to clear H2. In which case there's nothing in board H to build from. However, we are having this problem now where my original plan for C3 was to use a push that I can't do in a land with Blight. And I don't have another alternative. Because while Sunset's Fire would kill the Explorer, I would not have enough air to also do both Lightning Torn Skies and Raging Storm. And Raging Storm was necessary to kill everything in H2, and Lightning's Boon is necessary so I could do rituals and draw fast. So that's my dilemma right now. So if I do let H2 build, it's not actually that big of a deal if I do rituals and Raging Storm slow, for instance. Actually, that's probably okay then. They will build once. There will be a city, 2 towns, and 5 explorers. Raging Storm damages everything, kills all the single health explorers. And then we have a city at 2 health and 2 towns at 1 health, which both die to rituals. Okay, so we do Sunset's Fire fast. We do Raging Storm slow. And we should be fine. Okay. So we're not getting the ideal situation where we stop every single build, but this is still pretty good and very close to what it essentially was. In that all these lands are empty, all of these are prevented, and all of these are prevented. So it's the good enough solution then. I don't have energy to deal 1 damage in an adjacent land, but that's fine because it's a silly power. Just silly. So we're using Lightning Spoon just so we could do draw fast, which is important as it does stop 2 builds. Stops the Ravage in H1, but that one doesn't actually matter because they need 10 damage to Blight in there anyway. So we're just gonna have these miniature figurines over there, and that's fine. We're going to... Okay, so we have to do this first. And it's what? How much time again? 3 time? Okay. I'm probably gonna do card plays next turn, or energy actually, and do volcanic eruption maybe. Okay, maybe we do volcanic eruption. I don't know if there's a valid target, but that's my next thought. I'm just gonna do that. Okay. So we're gonna take off all the energy track ones. We're gonna take off of board F into board C. So board F doesn't do anything. Board C does things twice, but board C2 ceases to exist. C3 is empty. C1 ravages and kills itself. And then board H does a build in H2 and nothing else. Okay. And rituals we're saving for slow. Okay. Finally worked that out. Fortune Seekers. The next Explore card matches all lands without buildings instead of the printed land type. Yikes. Also ignore escalations. Okay. On each board, choose a land with disease. In that land, 2 damage to invaders and 2 damage to Dahan. Also, this goes off on board F twice, by the way. So screw F1, I guess. Or no, sorry, board F isn't going off at all. My bad. Each spirit with at least 2 Dahan among its lands either reclaims 1 power card or regains the unique power previously forgot. Cool. But board C is going off twice on that, which... The only disease is F1 and it's not going off. Okay. Next Explore card matches all lands without buildings instead of the printed land type, which means C1 and C3 twice. But it's just the Explore card, I think. And double check. I'm searching Fortune Seekers. Got nothing. Let me do it a different way. Note that the subsequent build and ravage effects are not modified. Okay. Okay. So basically it's another coastal explorer, but not a coastal build and ravage. Okay. On each board, choose a land with disease, but no boards. Each spirit with 2 Dahan, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, Fractured Days doesn't actually have Dahan in your lands, so unfortunately, you can't reclaim the past returns again. Ah. So you're just going to reclaim a power card. Okay. I take hazards. And Lightning had nothing. Each player adds strife to a town for the rest of this turn. Invaders have -1 health per strife to a minimum of 1. And this does affect board F, as it's not each board. It doesn't affect C2 because it ceases to exist. So let's do it on this town and this town, as those are 2 towns. This town's dead. This town's dead. So I'm just going to double up strife then. That was the only fear card? Okay. That was the only coastal build. All right, now to do double explore into board C. It matches all lands without buildings, and we have no escalation. Actually, it's not even just coastal, my bad, because it's frickin' every land that has nothing in it. Okay. Right, it's stronger than coastal. I lied, because actually buildings are a source of explorers for this. Okay. So, did that really do anything other than add millions of explorers? I mean, I guess. I mean, it didn't really change anything in terms of the Explore card. Matches lands without buildings instead of the printed land type, and all of the mountains didn't have buildings in them. So if they were going to explore mountains, they were going to do it anyway. And they also added explorers in lands that aren't really relevant I guess technically coastal ones are relevant. Okay, fine, that sucks. Whatever. Fine, that sucks. That town's now in the ocean. Okay. Well, it could be worse. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean coastal ravage is relevant. Damn it! Tried so hard. All right. Fine. Fine. Am I gonna do volcanic eruption? I don't really think there's really a good place for it. I could theoretically volcanic eruption into C2, and that causes a cascade. So it's not really ideal. But it would stop that ravage, which is a threat. I mean, all of these are threats right now. Okay, that one's fine. That one's fine. Those are threats. Otherwise, we have builds in those two lands in addition to the ravages. So, however, we do have two instances of pandemonium going on here. So, does that help things? Probably not. This is probably 4 card plays and 4 energy with 1 growth, which is cool. But I don't know where that actually helps a lot. Perfect stillness on a coastal mountain is a thought. Did they change the sound? Oh, it's the aspect, I guess. Nope, that's still lightning. So either they changed the sound or I never noticed how hard hitting Earth was. Okay. Or maybe it's aspect related and I don't know. They don't have it for lightning right now. I can definitely play my hand by doing this growth option and have 4 card plays and 4 energy, which affords everything, and I have a lot of innate energy. So despite saying how I'm in a reclaim loop with lightning, I'm actually not. Weird. I guess this is the first time I'm not reclaiming all of it. Or I guess I also had a previous time where I only did 2 card plays. So I don't know. This is a pretty good lightning game, I'll be honest. I mean, even though we're not destroying millions of buildings, we have a growth track that's almost maxed out. Okay. So let's go back to deciding how we're going to solve problems. Single explorers are threats here, which is annoying because we can't really solve all the single explorer problems. Target a land with beasts to do defend for. Okay, so that's obviously going to be that, right? We're definitely doing Carapace land at C3. Explorers build Ravage is probably bad unless we can throw a defend in. But otherwise there would need to be Dahan in there for that to really matter. And I don't really see a place. Maybe like F1 theoretically, but actually that's still bad because they would blight, so yeah. We don't have fast powers this turn, so like those things are out and volcanic eruption isn't really doing much. Okay. So let's take a look at these and think about whether this helps. Can't make this fast. Defend 4 is fine. Presence counts as wilds, or I'm sorry, badlands and beasts, but cannot move. 2 damage, then 3 wilds, or remove a blight. Honestly, not bad. Main issue is energy. But we can get a lot of energy there, which is fine. We also have it in mountains, jungle, 2 damage, defend 8, wilds, isolate. Actually, if I'm playing this, we also get +2 damage, +2 defend, and a badlands. That's interesting. Is there a place for that to matter? Eh. That said, oh, but I only have like, I don't have a lot of energy. If I take this, I need to gain 2 energy twice. But 2 energy twice means I can only get to 2 card plays. It would be fun to then do the build and ravage into C3 as that would be defended. Actually, no, it's not. I'm just kidding. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay. Actually, no. What am I talking about? I do have the defend because the defend is coming from this. Also, 2 damage just kills both explorers, and I don't need the defend anyway. Okay. Never mind. In which case, I could do the 2 damage in C1 and the defendant. Oh, but it's right. We have the same problem. It's blighted. I can't do that. Okay. Screw you and your blight. We have swarming wasps to put beasts in a place that I could then defend. Actually, this one doesn't care. Oh, no, sorry. This one doesn't care about beasts. Okay, never mind. Just kidding. Carry on. Still a lot of lands that I have to consider, though. What if I were to reclaim all and then do do the same thing this turn that happened last turn? Just port time sideways. Honestly, port time sideways in the board H. Not a bad thought. I gain 2 time, and that obviously accounts for the 3 time that I need for this. Probably board F is the bigger threat still, as we cleared board H mostly with the last round. So the only threat would be H3 if I did that, is H1 no one cares. H3 we do care, and it double builds. It doesn't have blight, so I can't do that. I am growing with lightning, so I can actually grow into there. But this single explorer is still an issue. I do have perfect stillness. Am I taking a power card because this is a power card turn, in which case I'm not growing at range? Which is annoying. I could take a major. And forget one of those. I have millions of energy. I think I want to take a major. Angry bears. Sorry. Whenever I see the word bear, I laugh. If this power destroys any buildings, 5 fear. Gather up to 5 blight, 1 damage per blight. Oh, that's fun. So the only fast power is Vengeance of the Dead, which is a pretty lackluster power. After buildings or Dahan are destroyed in target land, 1 damage per building or Dahan destroyed, but it cannot retrigger. It cannot trigger itself. We're not really doing destruction this turn, though, is the thing. So these don't really help with that. I guess, okay. We do have a means of making a slow power fast. If I have 3 moon and 1 air. If I'm taking this growth option, though, so that I can get whatever the power I was looking at. Confounding Mists, maybe? Walls of Rock and Thorn, maybe? The problem with that is I'm definitely not getting that. So I guess what we could do is do middle growth. Main issue with that is I don't have energy, but I have a lot of 0 energy cards. So I could gain 5. I could get to 5 card plays. Gain a free power. Play my free powers plus the 1 energy card. And maybe that triggers slow power fast. And maybe we can reclaim a card and pay a power card. I think it goes. I guess they could, but if I click this, I can't really unwind because I'm looking at a power card. I feel like, oh my god, I keep clicking the wrong thing. Like, this one's tempting, but the 2 damage solves the land that I wanted to use it in, and it's 4 energy otherwise, so that's expensive. So probably just Confounding Mists would be simplest, but it doesn't give me good elements. So let's risk. Let's take a risk. Let's do the risk. And let's gain a minor power. We want a free minor power that gives me every single element I want. Element's Boon is not that power, but it does give me every element I want and also spreads the wealth. Twilight Fog, however, it does give me Moon. Ooh, okay, it's Twilight Fog. I got it. We'll put Elemental Boon in Days That Never Were, that's fine. Okay, so I also add a presence. I can get to 6 card plays. I just need 5. So it's kind of a waste either way. I don't really know where I want this presence to be. This is a weird situation where I'm putting presence on the board for once. How many of these require sacred sites or special restrictions? Here there be monsters. No one, that doesn't actually really matter too much. And we could put a defend 3 at range 0, otherwise it targets a land with beasts, but like C3 is probably where that's going. I think this does mean I'm not doing the thing where I cancel board F, so that's over. That plan's over. Was that my intention? I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a million years since I started this turn. Every single one of these rounds have been so long. We're at 10 p.m. right? Holy crap, when did it become 10 p.m.? It's been a 3-hour game, and it's only Russia 1, by the way. I'm just slow. Let's just put a presence in some sort of problem land, I guess. Let's put it with Earth, because you can't ever do wrong, right? You can't ever do wrong with Earth. Card plays, card plays. Where does that put us? We have look at the top card or put it at the bottom. We have resolve slow power, reclaim, but we don't have the play, unfortunately. That's tragic. Sorry, my boyfriend has been texting me and I've been neglecting him. Okay. Unfortunately, that didn't really give me too much. I could take, instead of playing this one, actually it still gives me the, we don't have enough sun cards is the main problem, but okay. Resolve slow power, reclaim power card, but you can't play another one. But that does give me a slow power fast on Earth, or also lightning, but lightning's not really important. Or really Fractured Days, but Tsunami is an interesting pick. I don't have 3 water. I don't have 3 sun. I do not have 2 fire and 3 animals, so I'm hitting none of these thresholds. Is there a place where I could gather 5 blight and do 5 damage and generate 5 fear? At range 1? There's a lot of blight in this area. Or at least there was. I don't know where it all went. Wasn't there a blight here at one point? It's still there. It's just hiding. Probably behind the icon. No. Where is that blight? There is a blight there. Is it hiding behind a presence? Okay, well, there's a blight there. You just can't see it. There is a blight here. There's a blight there. Is that blight also hiding? Is there a problem where blight is invisible? Okay, let's do a thing. I'm gonna click a card and then I'm gonna hit undo. Except I can't do that undo. Okay. All right, fine. We'll have invisible blight until I can do a proper undo, because it will undo to when new information was revealed, and I don't remember when that was. Okay. Sure, it'd be helpful to know where the blight is, though. If I had presence close to this, this would be a pretty strong candidate, as we'd have a lot of blight in there. I can kill the city, and it generates 5 fear. But I don't. But we do have at least one neighboring blight here, so I could kill that town. Is there a blight also here? Yes, blight. Okay. So we can put 4 blight in there and kill everything in there. Which will destroy a town, so it generates 5 fear. It's not really the biggest threat, but it does do something. Tsunami's always tempting. If I make that fast, obviously it deals 8 damage, but there's not really a good tsunami target that doesn't kill Dahan as well. Okay, anyway, let's take care of Lightning's turn so I can play cards here so I can start thinking about these actions. There's no buildings in here, right? This is probably the... Oh, but I don't actually have Raging Storm. Never mind. Okay. Is there a coastal town? Yes, F3. That one's not a threat. Okay, cool. I guess I could gather this blight out, but then it's not doing the damage thing, so... I'm gonna just assume that this is a land I could protect. It's a dangerous land, but it's a land I have to protect anyway. Okay, so if I play these, I can strife the city. I can strife an explorer. And I can't target it because it has blight. I can push an explorer out, so it's only 2 damage in that land. Only 2. Only 2. Do any of these do anything? I guess we could defend C2. That's a way of solving that, I guess. Again, build and ravage doesn't seem right in any place. We don't have these fast. We do have something fast. All of Lightning's powers are already fast. I don't know what the fast thing would do. I guess we could do Twilight Fog for a strife. Right, that also seems foolish. I don't know. I'm going to take this power as I can see it having some sort of effect. And let's get rid of Guard to Healing Land because who cares about Blight? That's right. No one cares about Blight. Presence at range 0, so it's going to go into F5. It's the only singleton we really have. Let's just go up card plays now. Let's play this one. And then what? And then what? Guess I can push the Explorer out of F3. Okay. But then it's like... Then I don't have a valid target for Focus the Land's Anguish anyway. Actually, wait. I can't do that. It's fast anyway. Okay. Perfect Stillness then? Surely there's a place where Perfect Stillness does something. F1, I guess? Okay. This is like... As exciting as the previous turn was, this turn sucks. And I'm upset by that, because it shouldn't be a sucky turn, and yet it is. Here we are. Alright. Strife. Maybe the Fear card helps us? Maybe. We can destroy a town, but there's not really a town worth destroying. We'll wait for the slow phase, I guess. Might as well push these to Han out, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't really know. Get rid of one of these explorers. Go there. It's fine. Because, like, the thought was that I defend this. Oh, and I have the threshold on that, so it's defense 6. Oh. Which I guess I could defend here, actually. Okay. So let's defend this. Because I want to. Okay, so if that's defense 6, I don't need all the strife in there then. Okay. So let's do this. Defense 6. Harbingers. I guess really these explorers should die, to be fair. But if I push this explorer out, it's only 1 damage, so both Dahan survive. Cool. So you're saying build and ravage is incorrect. What if I were to strife the city still, though? If I do... So if I do this still, because I'm stubborn. Actually, okay. Let me take that back. Let me put visions back on the table. Shatter homesteads here. Nope, not shatter homesteads. Lightning torn skies here. So this is 0 damage. They build a town. It's 2... Well... There's 2 explorers, so it's 4 damage. Defense 6. So if I blur the Arc of Years... They build, they ravage. We deal 4 damage. But we added Dahan. So we do all the things. We could repeat this power. We do have a time. How much damage is that right now? It's a town and 2 explorers. That's 6 damage. They can't actually build there. Okay. Okay. Well, let's say I put one of the Dahan over there. And so I obviously can't do this. Is there a world where we can do something there? If I can defend that somehow. But it has blight, so I can't touch it. Hold on. I have a thought. I have a thought. Go back. I don't think this is correct, though. No, it's definitely not correct. So this is an interesting thought. I defend here. And then I blur. Removes the blade. Wait. Oh, it doesn't because, right, okay, never mind. We can't put these guys in here. I could spend time to repeat, which will remove the blight and as a Dahan. And I can push those. So let's say I do that. I'm not committing to this yet, but it does remove a blade. No, it doesn't. Why doesn't... Why? Oh, because there's Dahan in there. Okay. It needs absolutely nothing in there. Okay, I get it. I get it. But if I do this now... This is so close to being correct. The problem is... There's still 2 damage in there. But I could Twilight Fog. Oh, the problem with that Each remaining Dahan takes 1 damage. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I got it. I got it. Don't do that yet. Don't put Dahan in there yet. Slip here. Twilight Fog. Now, there's no Dahan in the land. Can I actually reclaim this and still have thresholds? I don't think so. Because we need the 2 suns. Yeah. I guess we could technically do this first. Huh? Okay, hold on, hold on. Is there a reason to want to do this? Maybe I do want to take time sideways back. I don't know. I don't know, man. I just work here. Oh. Okay, now let's... Okay, okay. Hello. I don't know what... I mean, I know what happened. I don't know why it's happening on this stream. My device is disconnected, which is probably due to some sort of weird power surge. So... okay, I can reclaim Carapace land, actually. So let's... Twilight Fog. Take this back. It doesn't affect thresholds. That's back, whatever. Then we... This. Do we this? Yes, we do that. It doesn't have to be now, but actually we do this here. Which is what we wanted to do now. They ravage. They ravage. Adds a Dahan. We push those guys over. We repeat to add another Dahan. And then push that over. And then Fiery Doom on the one guy that's not strafed. Alright, cool. No damage, no blight. Cool. That was a lot of effort to stop all of that crap. Unfortunately, we still have that problem in C1. So yeah, H3 is unsolved, C1 is unsolved, F1 is unsolved, F3 can be Stillness. And unfortunately, none of those have towns that are meaningful. So like, I could shatter homesteads, but it doesn't stop the F3 problem. Those lands don't have beasts, so I can't add a beast there. Well, I mean, there are beasts, but I can't target lands. So that was why we couldn't do that crap. I'm going to put beasts here. I'm going to push these Dahan out. Maybe the event card stops that land. I don't know. Stillness. That land. As that is a Stillness target. And all we have left is Shatter Homesteads. Probably better to wait for the slow phase. Okay. During the Ravage step, on each board, skip 1 Ravage action in a land where Dahan outnumber buildings. In each land with beasts, 1 damage per beast. Hey, that's helpful. For each board, 1 fear if any Dahan are in lands with buildings. So that does do something. So on each board, skip 1 Ravage action in a land where Dahan outnumber buildings. So F1. Okay, that's good. I took the Dahan out of C1, so that's not good. Dahan deal 1, or sorry, beasts deal 1 damage, which does do something. I kill the Explorer. I'm tempted to hit the town in case the fear card says -1 health per strife, but it's okay. Two fear there. Remove 2 explorers or a town from a land with Dahan. Again, I screwed that. Cool. Remove 2 explorers or a town from a land with Dahan. Again, these lands. Okay, so we are blighting the island. I'm blighting the island against Russia 1. How bad is that? All right, they're not ravaging here. So mountains. Okay, mountains. I can't target any of the mountains. Perfect stillness stopped everything. So kind of not really meaningful to remove anything here. But I mean, whatever. 2 explorers there. That guy wasn't doing anything anyway. Those guys are dying already. Take out that guy. That town is still strafed. Removing that town doesn't really stop visibility anywhere. So now we have the Blight card. So let's do the ravages that are solved. Oh, but they stopped. They didn't ravage there because the Hano number buildings. Rude. All right, whatever. That is Earth. Okay. That is perfect stillness. Okay. So actually, we only have 2 lands blading, but one of them is a cascade. So it doesn't actually matter the order then? That takes out that beast. Sorry, guy. And then the cascade kills the beasts, so let's avoid that. And presence, you go there. Island is blighted. All things weaken. Ongoing, starting next turn. Invaders in Dahan have -1 health, minimum 1. The land takes blight on 1 less damage, normally 1. When you add blight, it destroys all presence and beasts in that land and 1 presence total in an adjacent land. Okay. Starting next turn, though, things have -1 health. And 1 less health to blight a land, but vital strength makes that 9, so it's fine. Escalation. Each board. So you're doing this. You're just doing this in a random order, aren't you? Okay. Wetlands, explore. Mountains. Okay. So that's least relevant. Mountains. Wetlands. Least relevant. Forced there. I would like to win this game, by the way. I don't know why it's taking so long. I blame Fractured Days. Clearly it's his fault. Okay. Lightning now has 4 card plays. Take a gift of power, please. Steam Vents. Sure. I'm not even going to consider any other option. That's how good I am. Weren't we going to do this fast once upon a time? And then I decided to do something here fast? Whatever. I don't care. By the way, those undoing reset blight. No, it doesn't even move things around. There's still invisible blight. Which makes this really tricky. There's blight here, and I can't see it. There's also blight here. There's just invisible blight everywhere, man. Anyway, this seems like a good target for that since it's a Mountains Ravage. That is not you. Shadow Homesteads, destroy a town. Let's put that here. Maybe. Do you have range here for any reason? Of course not. I also have this as well. Stage 3 card. This is the... Wait. Oh, because it's one of my unique power. Okay. My unique power that I forgot on turn 1. We could swap the top card of the Invader deck with a card in the Invader discard within 1 stage of it, but don't have that. Don't think there's merit to look at that, so let's look at the event deck again. So cooperation among towns. Invaders do +1 damage per land when in ravaging lands with buildings and no strife. Explorers blunder. On each board, destroy 2 explorers among lands with beasts. On each board, add a Dahan to a land with Dahan and no blight or disease. Okay. That's actually fine, I feel like. We'll figure it out. Beasts destroy explorers I like. That might solve some problems. Might not solve some problems. It's impossible to tell. They're doing wetlands for the first time this game, I think. Like, literally first time? Yes, literally first time. Okay. So like it's tempting to gather all in there, but whatever. Let's solve this. I think it's just easiest. Click a blade. Oh, do I have to click the invisible blades now? Wait. Oh, it's not invisible blights. It's saying there's a blight when it ravages. Okay. Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I misread that entirely. Okay. Completely ignore the past 2 hours, please. Have you completely ignored the past 2 hours? Thanks. So we're gonna Raging Storm in here. I know that much. Let's just... Oh, I can't reach that. Poop. There's no... Oh, there are towns. Okay. Let's kill that town. Let's... This is extra fear if it's in a land with beasts. Get rid of that town so it doesn't build a city, maybe. Okay. Kind of playing a little bit looser right now because I want to finish this game one way or another. All right, do this. I'm gonna go ahead and click Miner again. You got 4 card plays. You don't have as much energy as you think you might have. You would like fire. Oh, this also gives moon. Range 0, city, 1 fear, defend 5, 3 moon, adds a beast. Okay. Earth doesn't have a place to put a sacred site. But you are 1 away from 3 card plays if you want that. I don't know if you want that. What about you, guy? What about you? You got anything for me? Mountains ravage. Mountains 2 damage, defend 8. 2 damage. Also, towns have -1 health now. Cool. Also, Dahana -1 health. 1 less damage to blight a land. Yeah, all sorts of crazy things now. Okay. Can we do a very potent volcanic eruption? Probably not. Volcanic eruption into C2 is the most potent, but it causes a cascade. And what's the rule on it? When you add blight, it destroys all presence and beasts in that land and 1 presence in an adjacent land. So blight is more dangerous. As placing a blight in a land destroys an adjacent presence now. As well as destroys a lot of things. Okay, so volcanic eruption might just not be a thing then. Tempted to take 1,000,000 energy this turn, no. We just need 1 time to get to 2 card plays, so 4 energy. And actually, I do have the threshold on that with Carapace Land. So it is tempting to do that then. Adds a Badlands. I'm not sure what that exactly does, but it looks cool. That said, there's not really relevant mountains here. We are 7 fear away from Terra level 3. Can we kill the cities? There's only 2 cities. Is that true? I think it's true. I think it's just this city and this city. Okay. Does volcanic eruption then win the game? Despite what I just said about probably not playing it. Major issue is... Okay, I can move the presence. I need energy though. I don't have energy. I can only get 6 energy off this. Okay. If I reclaim this... There is 2 blight there. If I do it fast, which lightning does give me, I can do it. Okay. So that's a reclaim on Earth. And then I just need to deal 2 damage in C2 and generate enough fear to win. So damage to each invader. Can I look at my entire hand, please? Thanks. 1 damage. Okay, we have damage. Cool. Okay. So what are we stuck on here? Oh, the card choice. Right. I'm just gonna click that. I don't think it's relevant now. So damage and damage. That takes care of C2. Also lightning's boon. You reclaim. Put your presence wherever you want, doesn't matter. There. You're playing that fast. Also, this deals damage, I guess. We could. Oh, but there's no Dahan in the land. It's fine. Whatever. Whatever. You can do a repeat if you want. That's fine. So since this doesn't matter, then I don't know what I would want anyway. Let's just click this one for no reason other than I'm going to click minor power and look for something that gives sun, moon, air. None of those. This one. But this one adds a presence, which I like. And then we will gain time. Play everything but volcanic eruption. Play whatever. Okay. Theoretically, we win. Fast. Damage. Okay. Damage. Like that. Okay, so the choice there is first for some reason. Okay. We won! Alright. That was a 3.5 hour game. I don't know why it was 3.5 hours, but I think it was because I spent 2 hours looking at fractured days. Is really why. We got 38 points, 10 for victory, 15 for difficulty 3, 10 for the 5 remaining invader cards, 6 for the 19 surviving Dahan, -3 for the 10 blight on the board. And someone said this screen is annoying that doesn't show you the spirits that played the game, but you can go to this screen and look at the spirits. Like, I mean, I guess if you want a single screenshot that shows you everything, this doesn't have it, but you get all the information. I mean, this is relatively new, to be fair. But hey, this is also relatively new. There's only so much information you can put on a screen without it being, like, completely jam-packed. Also, bear in mind that this is on a 1920 by 1080 display. Actually, I'm not doing this full screen, otherwise it'd be 2560 by 1440. But nonetheless, it is a big display. Imagine that this also has to fit on a tablet, has to fit on a phone, although the phone display is a bit different. Like, these are things that you don't consider when you're not a developer, but it's hard to do things. All right, that was a long game, but I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I got a bit impatient towards the end, but I was enjoying it. It's more just I realized, holy crap, it's been 3 hours, but I feel like I was getting a stronger handle on Fractured Days that game. A little bit. I feel like Resilience wasn't really that great, as it just left buildings in places where I had to find different ways of dealing with them. I feel like the fear here is what really carried the game. We didn't get building destruction here as well, but we got a lot of fear. So that's what got us to tier level 3. Without this, it'd be a bit harder, I think. And the important thing, though, to bear in mind is that aspects are intended to change the way that you play spirits. So you approach this version of lightning different than you approach standard lightning. Although I largely ended up playing this guy about the same. But, you know, buildings are persistent, so you're not solving the problems immediately. You have to solve them more with Dahan, but you get more fear in exchange. Buildings are persistent here, so kind of these two together probably made the game a little bit worse. But, you know, instead of having defend 3, we have essentially defend 8. That doesn't protect the Han, which means that there's less blight on the board. We still blighted the island, though, so, you know, it is what it is. I wonder what an aspect of Fractured Days might look like, but we'll see. I think, I don't remember exactly, but I think the aspects were originally designed for the beginner spirits, like the ones that had the power progression in the base game, kind of as an experiment, and when they were received well, then, and don't quote me on this, the developer said that the new intention is to have aspects on all spirits, and Nature Incarnate introduces it for various spirits, such as Bringer and Ocean. So we might see an aspect for Fractured Days if that is true. I could also be entirely wrong and misremembering things, but it does open the door for, you know, different ways to approach spirits and whatnot. That said, it's kind of difficult to like remove Days That Never Were when you have a growth option that explicitly references it. But maybe one of these innate powers or both of them turns into some sort of interaction with Days That Never Were. Imagine, if you will, that the innate power, you replace both of these with one innate power that says take a card from Days That Never Were and treat it as if it were in play. Imagine. Or don't imagine, I don't know. All right, that is it for this week. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay. This was Dolphin's Dive. We stream one day in the week at random, and next week, I believe my plan is to stream Thursday at 7 p.m., and I have a lot of Thursdays off in the coming weeks, so maybe you can plan for Thursday streams in the coming weeks. Check out the other streams we have on this channel. Every Tuesday at 3 p.m. is Handelabra Live with John, who likes to demo content before it is publicly available. He's been showcasing a lot of Spirit Island, which I have been as well, kind of following him. But he is definitely the go-to for content that is not seen, to demo content that is in active development and not even beta released yet. Every Sunday, I don't know what time, is Spirit Island Sundays with Seamus, who is back. And be sure to check out his streams for more Spirit Island, because I guess we are a Spirit Island channel. Basically. Yeah. Handelabra products include Sentinels of the Multiverse, Sentinels of Earth Prime, Bottom of the Ninth, One Deck Dungeon, One Deck Galaxy, Aeon's End, Spirit Island, and Horizons of Spirit Island, all available on Steam, iOS, and Android devices, and One Deck Dungeon is also available on Switch. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.